25 when there's somebody 35 that I can get way more time and work ethic out of.
Yeah, I just had a class about this shit that I had to take. I asked that question. It's like, well, wouldn't that mean basically you're incentivized to always hire these people no matter what they have, what their experience is? And they basically said yes. So I was like, fucking.
And then we're done talking about it.
You can't discriminate.
Because,
Yeah, apparently
okay.
it's like, I mean, if you're gonna hire someone, that's what you're doing. You're discriminating between a bad candidate and a good candidate. It seems immensely retarded to me.
You know what's funny when I see like fucking security guards that are like 60-year-old Asian women. They're like 4 feet tall. I'm like, how the fuck are you gonna stop me from robbing anything?
Yeah. Anyway, what were you gonna say?
While their physical ability may be limited, they still have, if they have firearms, that would be their upper hand.
Okay. So what would be the opposite of a protected class then?
In no
A
particular
second-class citizen, like, I don't know, blacks in slavery and not being considered humans.
The majority,
I was thinking,
running the
should we-
Okay. Okay.
Should
Jokes
we
aside, jokes aside, that's an interesting idea. What do you mean by that?
So what I mean is not protected, but actually valued citizens. Right? Citizens that have extra value. Should we value them? Should we protect them more? Should we give them extra benefits?
People that have 7 figures in their bank account.
I mean, in the sense that, like, I kind of brought it up, right, when we're talking about trying to fix the birth rate, right? Like, if you're, like, a person who has kids, right, and, like, there's a person who doesn't have kids, then, like, yeah, we should probably be taxing the one with no kids more to subsidize people who have kids, right? Yeah. As a hypothetical. I guess that would be an example of that.
Well, I was thinking about this, right? Not those are things that they can do, but how about we actually give extra protection or rights or what have you to people who have O negative blood if they donate regularly?
Free market.
I think that's fair. Yeah.
It's not necessarily right, but there are incentives
give them
towards
tax
people with
write-offs
OD.
and stuff, right?
By the way, that's not a joke. You can sell your blood. Don't forget, people. You can make a cool extra $100.
No, but yeah, but I'm saying like with this idea, I'm saying like give like tax write-off or incentive for someone like that to donate blood that has that type kind of thing or something.
Exactly, because they are the universal donor.
Yeah,
right. They can donate to everybody.
Actually,
So should we not consider them quote unquote special class?
You guys
Well,
discovered
the whole like civil rights and all that stuff. It's about majority and minority. So like, if the majority has power and the majority looks a certain way, you don't want them ruling and dictating how the minority should live, right? That's kind of like the idea of like the Civil Rights Act, and giving them like special.
You guys discovered supply and demand, and wow.
Right, but wouldn't you want to give incentives to those people that are?
Yeah, I would too. Yes, I agree with you there. I do agree with giving incentives.
Okay.
Like I said, I like when people talk about like government forcing people to do stuff. I don't think government should force people, but they should incentivize. Like I said, they can give you tax breaks or do things like the government can make it cheaper for you to do the things they kind of want to steer you towards. I don't mind that because that's not being forced on you. You're not like it's not a law, but it's like But if you do like get solar panels or whatever the fuck, we'll give you some extra money off. Like okay, now you incentivize me to do it. Like I feel like that's a good idea for the government to do in general.
Like I don't know if the incentivization for having more children is actually good.
Why not?
Well, because if you're poor, right, and you are incentivized to have children through tax breaks, you're not actually able to support the children. You're having society support them.
It can be.
Is that what we want?
I mean, the idea is we don't have not enough children being born first and foremost, and second of all, you always need to replace the workforce. So like you need more children to pay more Social Security, like to replace I can't remember, it's like 10 million people a year are retiring now because the boomers are all retiring. So like we need to replace that workforce.
But the problem is that typically single mothers that have more and more children, those people actually tended to be in jail or, bad things happen. I don't know if they're going to be as productive as you think, normal children from a two-parent household would be.
No, I know, I get that. No, I mean it comes back to I guess you'd have to have a better support system for people like that. I guess because if you're going to incentivize them, there's people that could do that. I mean, it happens. Obviously, we all know it does. So it's not even a fable, but.
Troll tech.
Because I know in various countries like Poland and Japan, there are incentives. And in Japan specifically, you are now given like special status as a citizen if you're pregnant or if you have more than 2 children. Right. So the government is actively trying to get couples to have more children.
I mean, we already have. If I remember correctly,
we already have tax child credits. Like my dad was getting like $12,000 in like tax credits.
It's true. They give you I think it's like $2,000-$3,000 a year basically in tax write-offs per child.
But if I remember correctly, Hungary completely cut out all income tax for parents that have 4 kids and more.
We don't necessarily need to fund. While I do think it might be a good idea, depending on how it's implemented, we don't necessarily need to incentivize more people to have kids. But what we need to do is stop incentivizing single parenthood. Because if you look at it, kids that come from 2-parent homes are more likely to become successful and have a healthy relationship with law and other people in society than compared to a single parent home. Not necessarily saying that single parents are bad, but that statistically speaking, they're better off.
Well, single parenthood is bad. I could just say it.
True.
It's terrible for the kids.
So something to counteract that.
It is.
What about having more community centers
especially
for
if it's
kids
voluntary?
Like that, so go hang out with adults and go play basketball or go play dodgeball and have community gatherings where a lot of these kids, I feel like that's a good escape for a lot of these kids to not do drugs or get out the streets and do that kind of shit.
You have like a YMCA, Boys and Girls Club, and stuff like that.
Yeah, but I'm saying I feel like maybe we might need more of them though, because obviously we're saying we have a problem with a lot of single parentage, right? And I'd rather not have those kids grow up in the street or do whatever. I'd rather have them playing basketball, like I said, going fucking playing dodgeball, going do whatever the fuck, Better for society in general.
Yeah. Not only is it just that the 2 parents are statistically more healthy for a child, but having 2 parents allows 1, the parents to spend more time with their kids, and 2, it gives them 2 role models to look up to. Yep. Especially for young men, they need a masculine figure, preferably a father, to look up to and be taught how to control themselves. And girls need a woman to look up to learn how to control themselves as well.
Yeah, I agree. I'm saying, but I guess with the community center kind of thing or something like that, as for people, it could be a basketball coach, it could be a baseball coach, it could be, as long as there's a male figure that can help them grow. It doesn't obviously it's best if it's a parent, but in general you can get it from other people. If you like a mechanic person and then you meet a fucking 25-year-old that knows how to do all this shit and takes you under the wings, that could be just as important as a dad. I don't know.
So if we're looking at implementing incentives, why not take it a step further and say that if you, as a young man, right, and if you go into the military, we'll give you more benefits because you can learn a lot of things and also learn discipline, maybe learn a trade while serving your country.
I think we do that already. We give them basically free education. I mean, we could do more. I'm not saying you can't, but we already do.
Yeah. That's why I'm saying we sort of. I don't want to say draft them, but unless they have a special dispensation, I think we should force young men into some sort of civil service at least.
I don't know about the force part.
Like I said, you can incentivize it.
We should
you want to make
encourage
more money and shit to put into it, I guess maybe. But if you force them, that becomes a different story.
Encouragement, yes.
If you force them for good reasons and they come out better, isn't that okay with the force?
in hypothetical, like in theory, like if we could force someone to do something, and they actually, but the thing is, everybody's different. So like, there might be somebody who's like very feeble-minded, very just like, I never want to kill an animal, never even kill bugs or nothing. You're gonna try to force them to be fucking a killer, you know, like that's tough, you know, for a lot of people. Like some people just
I'm
can't
not
handle
saying
it.
that's why I said like not the military, but like a civil service.
Okay,
like cutting down trees or building homes, something like that.
Oh, so like the
right?
new
not really military.
Oh, okay, that's it changes a little bit. I mean, I'm still against force, but like I said, if you want to incentivize, so like if you wanted to, if the government could be like, hey, you're like a 13-year-old boy, if you want to learn how to like build houses with these people, we'll give you like $500 in tax season or something. Like maybe I could see
right or
whatever,
or like once you turn 18, we'll give you the first 10 years tax free.
Something, yeah. I'm saying like if you want to incentivize something like that, I guess I can get down with it. Like I said, as long as it's more incentivized based than like mandatory, like you have to do. Like I said, I feel like the government, that's like what the government's main best job is to be like basically a cheerleader for whatever idea it has, like
bring back child labor. That's what you need to do. Swear to God.
I mean, most kids play Minecraft. Children
not even like memeing, like for real, like make elementary the baseline. Fuck
children crave the mines. Let them go back.
Yeah, that's silly. Swear to God, yeah. Fuck high school. Learn everything in elementary. Get a job straight out of elementary school. Something.
Education go to work leads to a better society, though.
I don't know. I don't want
some education elementary. Yeah.
I don't want to drive a Chevy built by somebody with an elementary education.
You don't want nobody doing this. That's what I'm saying. Like education is like literally the best thing that can drive up your GDP and everything.
Mm-hmm. I was memeing when I said like the children here for the mines. They don't actually.
Maybe you were.
No, they belong in the mines. Don't get me wrong, but.
Well, thanks side, right? Here's something that I would actually cut back on is all those Pell Grants to the colleges.
Why though?
Yes, please do that. Because they aren't supporting the American values that we need to be taught to our new generations.
Well, a lot of those
we have
like
a very defining.
Well,
look, a lot of degrees are important. For example, if you're going in there for the medical industry, or if you're going in there for the sciences, go ahead, go get a degree. But a lot of the degrees that they're advertising nowadays, an extreme one would be like gender sciences or stuff like psychology, which psychology is
important, but it shouldn't be the focus.
Yeah, so it shouldn't be the focus, and a lot of universities don't accurately teach good American values and morals to the kids because they are trying to get their agenda across. Like, don't get me wrong, everybody's trying to get an agenda across.
It would be racist to teach them about America.
No, so here, the reason I was advocating for the removal of these grants, right, is because I feel like grants increase the cost of the college because the college will look at grants and say, well, the kid's already going to say the college cost is $50,000, right? And grants are like, handed out like M&Ms and they're $6,000, right? So I'm going to increase the cost to $56 because I know you're going to get the $6. So I feel like that is one of the reasons why the cost for college has been going up and up every year. Right, because grants are just handed out like you're breathing, you get a grant.
Also, the main reason why it probably goes up is because those you can't default on that loan, no matter what you do. You can't bankrupt on a federal student loan.
Exactly.
Like that is a big reason why colleges go up because they can charge whatever because they know they got you, that you have to pay it.
Right, but here's the thing: why don't we go back to a level where colleges now have to compete for students by saying that, you see, these are the graduation rates and these are the companies the graduates went on to, and these are the salaries they received, right? And we can actually put back into I think the Ivy Leagues have lost their shine, basically. right?
Oh,
Now
yeah.
it's not as important if you went to Harvard or MIT.
Men have lost
I
their
don't know
ball.
about that. I feel like anybody who leaves there gets a job instantly.
Not
I feel like-
necessarily. No.
Well, that
Well,
feel like-
especially after the protest, right? Especially after those college
you
campus
see, that's the
protests, a lot
problem.
of
The
them get lost.
protests, the
Guys,
affirmative
men have
action,
liberal
the
talking
disparity in scores on entry for the SAT, weighing it like like the certain racial characteristics were allowed to enter with lower grades. They need to stop all of that. They need to be a business where they have to sell how good they are. And I feel like as a business, the drive to make money will make you better instead of being subsidized.
Here's the thing: I don't think that as the federal government we should even give people loans. If a private institution like a bank isn't willing to subsidize your degree, why should we, the American taxpayer, subsidize your degree? It's obviously not worth investing in.
Right. We should be like anything, right? Like when you go to a bank, you have to convince them that the loan they give you is in their best interest profitability wise. And right now, I feel like college loans are just like you fill out the paperwork, there's nobody that checks it. It's just stamped, passed through, and here's your check.
Not only that, but colleges are really expensive. But I think it's like 60 to 70% of people who go to college drop out, and then on top of that, people who graduate, barely any of them actually get jobs that they need their degrees for. So yeah, education is important, but I think you also need to incentivize not necessarily incentivize, but like the culture needs to shift around. Well, like education is important, but our culture also needs to shift to be, at least in like areas like California, New York, and stuff like that, jobs and careers like plumbing, welding, etc. aren't like, it's getting a comeback, but they aren't as popular as they could be. And I feel like a lot of people feel like they need to go to college in order to be successful, when in reality, there are a lot of other opportunities. Like, don't get me wrong, education is important, but there are other opportunities.
Sure,
and areas.
Well,
Is the plumber making quantum computing and doing all the cool things that we really rely on every day?
Yeah, taking a shit.
Well, you do rely on.
No, I know, but I'm saying, but like, okay, but are they the ones doing like the quantum computing or fucking all the cool things that we figure out? Science
well,
and
shit. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. You want the genius to go get a loan so they can go to school, and you want them to succeed. Now, do you want the potential plumber to get a loan to go into college and possibly fail? No, you have to let the chips fall where they may.
I'm saying
right?
like we should probably set kids up better with like education about like what future is, like either with colleges or going to the trade school or whatever. Like, like kids at 18 shouldn't just be like college is the only idea. What?
Are you saying that plumbers and welders and like the trades people aren't educated? They are.
No,
it's just they're educated.
It's different education. I know. I'm talking about like.
Yeah. So I don't think necessarily that like quantum physics or quantum mechanics is what everybody needs to go for. Some people are like gifted in certain areas. Mm-hmm. Yeah, some people are gifted or are able to learn in different areas.
Correct.
But some people should go to trades because that is where their expertise lies.
That's my point. We need to start educating kids better at like starting with high school about like the future, as in like you don't. Because like you're saying, everyone thinks like you just have to go to college, you have to do this. Like that's not necessarily the only option. Like I think you should tell kids like you could do this, you could do this. Like give them like 5 options so they also like 16 they can figure it out.
Yeah, so Also, as a guy.
Sorry, go ahead.
Thanks. I'll just make this quick. Also, as a guy currently working in industries and as an intern. Most of what I understand with like, especially like when it comes to industry and whatnot, like it's not an aptitude you just kind of pick up. It's more of practiced experience, especially considering a lot of this stuff is like, you learn this stuff, you can't just pick it up, and if you don't learn it, you'll end up killing yourself. So it's a different kind of aptitude where like
you learn
smarts and like the aptitude or like process for like how you learn. It's applicable both for trades and for tactical. And anyways, Troll Tech, what were you
Here's
gonna
the thing:
say?
we need to stop promoting.
Hold on. Troll Tech was gonna say something.
Yeah. So what I was gonna say was, I feel like this inherent parental drive for their children to go to college is something left over from like, I don't know, maybe even far back as the 30s, where you don't want your children to end up like you, working a farm or working in a factory line, right? So it's a legacy idea, and we have to realize that everybody going to college is a great dream, but we also have to come to the realization not everyone is built for college.
True.
And sometimes you have to tell somebody, listen, you're not going to be the next Stephen Hawking. I'm sorry. But you're going to be a great plumber. You're going to be a great welder. And we should, in middle school and high school, go back to offering them those choices. Because I remember high school, they used to have shop class.
They still do.
And I kind of want to say like some of this
about that.
Mind if I interrupt? Because I think some of this is a cultural thing. Because this isn't just schools like saying, "Hey, you have to go to college." This is also on the onus of not just parents as well, but culture as a whole. Because like you're not only getting this from your schools, you're not only getting this from your parents, you're also getting this from society at large, saying like, "Hey, if you don't go to college, you don't get at least a bachelor's degree, you're fucking useless."
Well, no, this is what I was going to get to though, which is I don't think that we should. I think that certain jobs, right? Unless it's like maybe even I don't think even a coder should have to, but like if you go to aerospace engineering, right, you should be expected to get a degree. But certain jobs, like even coder, maybe psychologist, you could have field training rather than be required to have a degree.
Right,
we should stop.
Apprenticeship programs. Yes.
We should stop prioritizing.
Yes, we should definitely bring those back.
Well, not psychologists specifically, but you get what I mean. There
I
are
get the point.
a bunch of useless degrees.
Some are maybe.
Even a coder, right? You could get training. Like you could do programs instead of going and getting an entire expensive degree.
Look, every fucking job on the job training. You get out of college, you're like, I'm successful. I got a degree, and they're like, I don't know what to do. Oh, we're gonna train you on the job. You could have done that without me spending $60,000. You're gonna train me on the job anyways. You get trained.
No, well, college used to be a way for companies to basically distinguish like this guy is past certain level of like kind of intelligence barriers in a way.
If you finish,
it shows commitment.
You can commit to things and you'll finish.
Greetings.
Just failing or stopping, like it shows drive too. There's another reason why.
Yeah, those are the reasons we used to require colleges for certain jobs. So I don't think we need to anymore. At least for some jobs.
Some emotional quotient.
My point would be, if I was the government, I would want to increase innovation and growth instead of stuff that like plumbing, like you're saying, like it's something that I need to learn, but it's something that we've been doing the same things have been used for the last 100 years. Anybody could do it. Versus, like I said, the person that's building the new science stuff or the new fucking computer stuff, all that kind of stuff. Like those innovations, you need government money to do.
Federal government or state government?
I'm not sure about that because
that's true. Though, everything that gets innovated is made by government's money first. Pretty much almost everything. There's nobody invents things in like their garage anymore. You can't name the last.
I have one question for that claim: federal government or state government?
No, federal.
I think the state will be able to manage that.
No, they can't because then every state's going to go under.
Nobody invents their own things.
Not everyone, but some of them.
What?
Well, if that was the case, only the large states would be able to afford it. The smaller states wouldn't have the
That's
money
why I'm saying
because
it
they
had to
just
be
don't have the
federal. I'm
people.
saying so many states would go under. They would, or not under, but they would be.
Well, yeah,
deficit
you
every
fund the
year.
ones that can't do it, but then you encourage the ones that can, as well as you work with the state legislatures on that level. For example, here in Georgia, we have what is called Peach Care, which is basically like a micro universal healthcare system for here in Georgia, and it's all funded by state funds, and it works out fairly well. Now, can it be improved? Yes, it can, but right now it's pretty basic. I mean, right now, I mean, Governor Kemp has been a fantastic governor. I mean, he's done so much shit. He gave us constitutional carry. He's decreased state taxes twice, and also the largest Hyundai gigafactory is getting built in Savannah.
Mm-hmm.
So, yay, business.
I was a bit gay. Yeah.
Oh, and also he suspended our gas tax when Biden shot the fucking gas prices up because of the fucking war in Ukraine.
I mean, gas prices are already down, so.
Well, yeah, because the price of diesel was getting out of control. So Governor Kemp was like, no, all right, nope, no more gas tax. We're just suspending that for like 6 months. And I'm like, yes. I think Kemp ought to run for president. I'm just being real. Like he has a
I mean,
track record.
DeSantis is great at governing and running in Florida, but he wasn't like a good candidate to run nationally. Just because your candidate is good locally doesn't mean he's going to be good on the national stage.
Oh yeah, we learned that with Jimmy Carter, didn't we?
A lot of people like that, honestly.
So apparently, Wisconsin Supreme Court loss. The effect that has. Anyone?
What was
I don't know.
Apparently, the liberal judge won the election.
Nice.
Well, wait, in Wisconsin?
Yep. They won.
The guy we didn't want to win one, or the guy we wanted to win one?
The liberal judge won that election.
Okay.
And if,
I mean, I want to hear about like Elon buying like boo. He's paid people to vote.
He did, though, technically.
I mean, he did, but it's like I always hate that thing. It's like people act like people are not people. Like, oh, you pay money, you win. Like it's a fucking video game. Like,
no, it doesn't necessarily. You're right. It doesn't necessarily correlate, but it does a lot of times.
Politics
you can say it helps, which is fair enough.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
Elon
I will
is
give you that
literally
it's not a
using
for sure.
Dota 2
That's the thing. People think if I give this person 20, I mean, even like Kamala, like they gave her a bunch of money, doesn't necessarily mean you're going to win. Like it just improves your chances, but it doesn't mean it's going to happen.
I'm gonna sum up to you exactly what Elon is doing. He's buying every single fucking like platinum chest, and then like he keeps opening them up, and then hoping to God that like one of them gives him like the fucking like what do you call it? What's the highest rarity? Like I forgot, but like he gets the highest rarity item, and that's basically him winning or just buying the election. I just buy every chest until there isn't one anymore.
I don't think he's trying to buy up the election. I think that's a bunch of fear mongering. Yeah, I mean, there's a ton of companies, a ton of people that invest money into politics all the time. Citizens United, I believe, was the case where we decided that, well, you know, politics.
Yeah, but not to individual
APAC
people,
isn't
voters,
related to Citizens United, exactly. But we decided that, again, money is speech, right?
Yeah, but not to individual people, right? Has like APAC.
No, even to individual people.
No, I'm talking about like, as APAC said, vote for this guy and we'll give you $1 million.
What do you mean?
I'm saying, can you name me one other person in the world that's, well, not in the world, but in America that said, hey, vote this way and I'll give you $1 million?
Well, I don't think he didn't say that, did he? He said that if you vote, he gives X amount of money for voting.
And he
didn't
said
say you have
he
to
would pick
vote
out
for
of
a
the
specific
Trump base
candidate.
too. He also basically said that he applied it that, like the people that shared like social media shit, which is pro-Trump shit with Elon and stuff, would be the ones that would get a better chance. Implying
Elon
that,
do that after he
implying
endorsed Trump, though?
it's legal.
I
It's
no,
legally.
I need to see that.
Oh, okay.
I need to see that.
Let's see if I can find it.
Because you're allowed to pay for people to go to vote. You just can't pay for people to vote a specific way. No, you can pay to like you can offer.
No,
put an X amount of money and go vote.
Not even because remember when Democrats in the '90s? Remember when Democrats in the '90s were handing out water at the polls, and they said that was illegal because you're trying to sway votes. That was just water bottles.
Because because there's a difference when you say, "Oh, go vote," to when you're at the voting booth and you're basically making a pitch by saying, "Oh, I'm with the Democrats. Here, have some water." Like that's a difference.
You're saying
if you don't recognize that do you not recognize the difference? Because there's a difference there.
Yeah, he says Elon Musk says he'll give $2 million to voters who oppose activist Judge. So oppose, aka vote his way. So he literally said that.
Okay, then you can argue in court against them.
I'm just saying, like, there's a big difference.
VC, let's go.
I'm just saying, there's a big difference. You're acting like people do this all the time. Nobody gives individual people who voted money.
I put Trump dynasty. Anyone?
No, I said money getting into politics is happening all the time.
No, I agree.
Well,
There, I know what I'm saying. Somebody
said right. Somebody said about donating money right into politics. Donating
Let
money.
Elon Musk do what he wants to, all right? Because then I don't got to hear a goddamn thing about George Soros ever again. So let him do what he wants.
Or Rupert Murdoch.
I mean, Elon Musk already admitted he's the fucking George Soros of the right, but the difference is George Soros never had a position in government, right?
Well, I mean,
like actual
Elon
position
Musk
in
is.
government. No. It's a big difference.
Elon
Again.
Musk is not the George Soros of the right because Elon Musk isn't even really right wing.
Should Kanye West run for president again? Hell no.
Who cares?
Did you see his new Ku Klux Klan inspired
Black
outfit?
KKK, yeah, stupid.
Bro, he's wearing a fucking gold swastika chain. I mean,
bro, that Nazi chain was hard as fuck. I don't care what anyone says.
I mean, look, I'm no Nazi, but damn, bro, that shit kind of.
Yeah, it was, yeah. That shit was sick.
I gotta admit, man. I mean, fuck
it was
Hitler,
just clean.
but you gotta admit, bro.
It was just clean, bro.
It was so clean.
If it was any other shit, yes, it would be a wonderful chain.
Oh man. Also, apparently, it was
that shit
revealed
was
that
iced
in
out.
Argentina that Hitler did not die in Germany.
Yes, he died in Argentina. We know.
Yep. But then, what was he doing in Argentina after World War II? Though is the question.
I don't know.
They were
Picking
they kept practicing their shit, dude. They're fucking. There's a city in Brazil or somewhere around there that fucking because he wanted to make twins and like it ended up being like 1 out of 5 people born in that village had twins. Like there's things like that happened.
Wasn't that Mengele?
Yeah, but I'm saying
I think
they
it was
all went
Mengele
there.
that wanted that.
Yeah, but I'm saying they all went there, right? They all went to Argentina. They all went to South America.
I mean, a lot of the Nazi officials were caught or by either vigilante groups or by governments.
Oh,
like
yeah.
Israel caught
Well,
it called? Israel leaked the location of Joseph Mengele in Argentina. They also managed to capture what's his name? Adolf Eichmann.
Yeah.
I mean there was dedicated Nazi hunting groups that would go around and find ex-Nazi officials. So it was pretty hard to hide. Not saying it was impossible. It was hard to hide.
Thing is, I suppose money and power. It's like a lot of things. You can bribe people, especially if people have nothing.
So my friend claims liberal women are more attractive than MAGA women, and I respond with, "Okay, but which ones are actually women, though?"
Well, his
No,
claim
it's more
is
of the opinion
false.
of.
His claim
It's
is just objectively false.
It's all
More like,
I'm sorry,
do you like
really not.
OnlyFans women or women who will love you and not? Never mind.
I like a
Well,
thought.
no, liberal
Well, yeah, but
women
like,
aren't objectively
I want a
honest.
slut.
Yeah, but see, like I
Hell
made it.
yeah.
I made it into a joke because I told him, okay, but which ones are actually women though? And see, he thinks about it for a bit. And he's like, oh wait, that was a shot at trans women, wasn't it? And I'm like, no shit.
Whoa, you insulting trannies? That's insensitive.
Wow, you're a rebel.
Stop
Oh
that.
no! Oh no! I've offended people. They're gonna cancel me on Blue Sky now.
Why are we supposed to care about this homosexuals again?
They're human beings.
They're
People.
prevalent in society.
I
Man.
mean, I'm gonna be honest. I got no problem with the LGBTQ, but they never should have
I do.
I mean, they became a problem in my view when they got politicized. When the fucking donors said, "Oh no, let's prop up this minority and then make them feel marginalized, so that way
Wait,
we'll
but why is it bad that they prop them
Yo,
up?
Kodeska, is that an
To say that it's bad that they prop them up is
because it generated
homosexuality is
talking
wrong.
points and they ran it in the media. That's what happened.
No, I say it's wrong that they prop them up because homosexuality is just wrong.
Why?
I mean, I don't really care if you're lesbian or gay. I mean, I'm more of a you do you guy. I mean, if anything, I'm more moderate in that area. It's just that I don't think that they should have been propped up under this left wing like media apparatus umbrella as a voting bloc that like actually swings elections in their favor. I mean, yeah, we had Obergefell versus Hodges, which is what legalized gay marriage. Funny enough, that case started in my county. It's what's hilarious. And
Which, by the way, Obama ran against gay marriage.
Yeah,
2010, Prop 8 in California.
Well, I mean, Obama didn't really have much to do with it because it was a Supreme Court case, so he kind of just had to just be like.
But he did celebrate it afterwards in the White House.
Well, yep. I mean, I guess that's the law then. It's just when Democrats started to realize, oh wait, we can prop these guys up as a voter bloc, and then in came the donor money, and then came the talking points, especially when Trump came around because they wanted to run the story. Oh yeah, bro, Trump he hates gays, he hates trans people, he hates all this stuff, and I'm like, okay, well, what evidence of there was that the first time around? In fact, like there was one rally that went viral where Trump literally said, I will protect the LGBTQ from radical Islamic terrorists. And then everybody went fucking nuts.
Well, Trump
In
is
fact, one dude held
definitely pretty liberal on the
He's a moderate.
LGBT position. On the
Like,
LGBT
people-
position, he's pretty liberal on that.
Well, remember, he's
mean-
also a New York Democrat for the longest time, so this isn't really
Yeah.
new to him.
He's pretty much a 90s Democrat.
Do
let's
people
be
not know
honest.
that like back when like Trump was a Democrat, he funded Letitia James's like first run for Attorney General?
Yes, people already mentioned that when the entire case happened. Everybody
Yeah,
knows it.
I mean, like, yeah. But yet the liberals think he's Hitler.
Well, his last name is Adolf.
He did kick people out of the country that should not have been, right? With no due process, right? That's pretty bad, right?
He did not do that.
He did. The Maryland guy. They just admitted to it today. So yeah, he did.
If you're illegal, you're not afforded due process. You can fuck yourself.
That's not true. It says Fifth Amendment, no person. Doesn't say.
One thing that I will say, Trump does a damn.
Fifth
good
Amendment
job
only
at,
applies to
like-
American
No,
citizens.
it doesn't.
Who?
No, it doesn't.
No, who cares?
The rule of law. That's what cares.
Oh,
I
I'm
don't
sorry.
think he
Why
does.
are we objecting getting rid of illegal aliens?
With
Democrats
no
love
due
illegal.
process. No, it's the
Due process.
It's the due process.
There was due
No,
process.
there wasn't.
There was
No. It's called.
Wah,
judicial
wah,
review.
wah.
Dude, the guy, they already admitted to it. Why are you guys still fighting this point? Maryland, the guy from Maryland literally.
Wah.
Okay, so you guys just don't. You guys want Nazi?
Okay,
or Russian
Charlie
shit, right?
Brown.
Okay.
Wah.
No. So you guys are for no due process, huh? That's fucking nuts.
If you're not an American citizen, you don't get it.
You do.
Okay. I'll say
Amendment.
this. I wouldn't look at it as a due process. I look at it as judicial review. You know, you gotta change the wording a bit. You know, like how they changed.
No, you don't.
Like
it's in the Constitution. It's due process. You get this.
Hey.
I don't know why you guys don't like the Constitution all of a sudden. Like it's the rule.
I love the Constitution.
Those are literally the rules.
I don't accept your interpretation of the Constitution.
Whoa.
I think it could be better.
It says no person, bro.
Okay, Brett Kavanaugh.
Not the Democrats just all of a sudden caring about the Constitution.
I just think you're a retard and can't read.
I do read. Tell me what the Fifth Amendment says. Read it to me. Tell me. Tell me the first three sentences.
Read that. Read it out.
Look it up.
You can read it. I bet it says no person or no people. It doesn't say no citizen.
Let me read it. Hold on. Quit yapping. Hold on.
No person shall be held to answer for a capital or otherwise infamous crime unless on a presentment or indictment of a grand jury, except in cases arising in the land or naval forces or in the militia, when in actual service in time of war or public danger. Nor shall any person be subject for the same offense to be twice be put in jeopardy of life or limb, nor shall be compelled in any criminal case to be a witness against himself, nor be deprived of life, liberty, property without due process of law, nor shall private property be taken for public use without just compensation.
Yep.
So you're telling me
this is on the public threat part.
So you're telling me
you just read the first. You read the first part
No, I
and
read all
ignored
of it,
the rest
bro.
of it.
I know he read it verbatim. It says no person. It didn't say no citizen. So all that rights that it said with the due process and
then
not
you
double
forgot the
jeopardy
rest
and all
of
this stuff, it says no person. It doesn't say
Wow.
no citizen.
And then you ignored the rest of it.
So
I didn't
does-
ignore the rest of it.
Okay, so then does a person count as a citizen, or is a person
No, it
just a
doesn't,
regular?
because there's
like,
other
just
parts
individual?
in the Constitution where it says no citizen or
So
no
we need to
citizen.
adjust. We need to adjust.
Okay,
the
so which article is
Constitution
that?
Where it only
You want
applies
me
to
to see
U.S.
where it says
citizens.
the citizens
No,
in the
we
Constitution?
don't, because it doesn't matter,
It
because
does.
this is literally, he did invoke the alien, forget the full name of it.
It was a law. Yeah, it was like from like the
Okay, but
1800s.
how about this? Does the Fifth Amendment supersede the Alien Enemies Act?
No, but it does say mention the word threat, unless there's threat. It mentioned that in the Fifth Amendment.
But also
You read
you gotta
it,
have
which
due
is why we're saying
process,
you're
right?
ignoring.
It says due process. How do you know someone's so like even like
Unless
but I'm saying
XYZ, it says it.
How do you know someone's a threat if they have a criminal history? That's like
yeah, sure, but without due process, how do you know they're fucking criminals?
that they have a rap sheet.
How do you have, without the due process, how do you have a rap sheet?
How is this a thing? They came in illegally.
How do you know even?
Plus, Trump did call it.
How do you
Because they don't have a citizenship.
How
What do you mean?
with no court case on it? How do you truly know?
Oh my god, bro!
Oh,
you
we
want
looked
to,
the
let
records.
me guess. You would want a fucking judge,
So
at the border to sign off on this shit before we toss them back out for hopping over the border.
Like anything, like the
So for
murderers,
every
rapists.
illegal immigrant, we have to have a court case for them.
Yeah, that's what they do.
That's a massive judicial time.
Yeah, that's why
Oh,
there's a
man.
fucking 8-year window to fucking become citizens here. That's the problem. Exactly. You need more judges to fucking figure this out, right?
Why are you? Why do you need immigrants to
that
be
is
here?
not why it takes 8 years to become a citizen.
Like, why do you need
That is
illegals
not
to
why
be
it
here
takes
so
8 years.
bad?
Why do you need what?
No, it's not.
Why do you need illegals to be here so
I just want
intensely?
I'm talking
Why
about the
do you
due
defend
process. I
them?
don't even care. It's due process.
No,
I
don't
defend
give me
due
that. You
process.
haven't given a fuck. No.
Mhm.
Democrats haven't given a fuck about due process,
Okay,
the rule of law, or the Constitution for the last 6 years.
Okay.
Why do you give
How
a
do you
fuck
say
all
that?
of a sudden about
What-
illegal?
what-
Because
Yeah,
we watched the
Democrats don't care
BLM
about
Summer
the
of Law. Don't give me that
Constitution or
shit.
due
The summer
process when they
okay.
killed two
What was it? Like
US citizens
80,000
via
people
drug
got
trial.
arrested or something like that, right? During that whole summer, right?
Listen, I watch people come into court and go right back out of court on PR bonds and cash surety bonds of less
Least
than
on
$1,000.
recognizance. Yeah.
Yeah, this. You're not gonna bullshit me on the DAs give a fuck about crime until today when we're deporting illegals. Don't bullshit me.
What are you talking about? Due process.
I sit in court every day and watch people who are here for illegal fucking immigrants who are here and getting PR bonds for drug charges. And you're going to tell me that Democrats give a fuck about the rule of law. Democrat judges don't give a fuck until it's keeping illegal immigrants in the United States.
Do you think that we have enough? So if you want to throw everyone in jail, which is fine, whatever, right? How many jails do you think we have in America? Aren't they already all full? So you're going to build like what, double the amount of jails and start throwing everybody?
Or hear me out. Or hear me out.
That's why we're deporting them. Are you serious?
No. You're deporting people wrongly. They've already admitted to 2 people now that have been deported wrongly because they had no due process.
They admitted to that. Show me where they admitted to that.
I just told you the Maryland case. Read it. Look up Maryland.
Okay, kid, send me it. No, send me it.
I genuinely don't give a shit. Deport them.
Yeah, I don't care. Deport illegals.
Yeah, good. Fuck it.
I can
don't care.
also say that. Oh God.
You got to have evidence, right? You got to have fucking facts, right? No, that I forgot.
I just got here. Y'all are gonna have to catch me up to speed.
Illegal's bad. Illegal.
How do you know
due process.
Okay, guys, here.
Because they don't have citizenship.
So
they don't have citizenship or proof of citizenship.
How do you know without
that's
due
what it is.
process? Due process, bro. Yeah,
Hear me
if
out,
you
hear
can
me
prove it.
Okay,
That's sure.
So,
is there
Trump
anything
has
else
two
that, like,
executive
that's not
orders,
super
right?
obvious that we can talk about?
Fix your voice changer. What the fuck?
I'm
It's
curious.
not a
if
voice
that
change, dude.
Democrats
It's
are
healing and
Your
balloon.
nose is brown. Your nose is brown.
So Trump has
Here
2
we-
executive orders, right? There's the protecting the American people against invasion and the securing our borders ones. They both have pushed hard to speed up deportations and the time limit and to limit the due process needed for undocumented people, aka illegal immigrants. One big move was expanding the expedited removal nationwide. This process, which is already part of the law but in a limited scope, lets immigration officers deport people without a court hearing if they cannot prove that they've been in the U.S. for more than 2 years. The order kicked this into high gear, and on January 21st, 2025, the Federal Register notice from the DHS made it official, applying it to anyone, anywhere in the U.S., not just near the border. If you're caught and can't show 2 years of continuous presence, you're out, with no trial.
based.
Great, just show 2 years of continuous presence. Problem solved.
Again, with no due
That could be
process.
people you know.
Or even better
Could
problem.
be people
or
you
even better
know,
thing.
jobs that you've had, anything. So if you're here on a visa, and that's something that you can prove that you're here legally. You're not here illegally. If you're here illegally and you haven't been here for two years and you can't prove that, then you're out.
The guy from Maryland did have a visa.
I think that's pretty fair.
The guy from Maryland had a visa. They didn't do no due process.
pull it
Therefore,
out.
he got
Was
thrown
the
out.
visa revoked? Sure. Can you send that?
I already
Can you
did.
send
It's
me
in
the
the
article,
chat.
please?
Both these things are
Don't
in the chat.
matter.
Okay. Like,
Sure.
are both of these in the same article, or are they different?
They're different articles.
Wow.
About the same thing, or
No, 2 different articles, 2 different things.
And
which
he
one? The
come
second
back.
one or the first one?
The first one is the Maryland one that came out today, and the other one's the fucking gay Venezuelan dude that they fucking threw in jail because of his tattoos that didn't prove anything.
And they
Who
can
was a
come
green
back.
card holder and legal. So yeah,
And they can
2
come
people we know for sure have already been illegally sent to like the worst prison in the world with no due process, and you guys just don't care.
Worst prison in the world?
It
You're
is.
fucking wild, dude.
What do you
That is
mean?
Hold on. Are you
worst prison in the
arguing?
world?
that
Have you ever
some
heard
are
of the
not-
Muslim
are you
Uyghurs
retarded?
in China? Those
Like,
are
yeah,
worse prisons.
I don't mind the deportation, but arguing like that El Salvador prison is not bad, and you're retarded. Like, what the fuck?
What? This is supposed to be one of the worst prisons in the world.
Just do advocating that fucking
No,
El
it's
Salvador
not.
prison is the worst.
I don't know. The worst prison in the world is probably one
That's
where
some
the Muslim
crazy
Uyghurs
shit.
are at, and are getting
Dude, I have an idea.
cashed.
What prison
Objectively,
is
We need
the
to
worst prison in the
reopen
world is
Alcatraz.
Seagull. Objectively,
What
Seagull is
prison?
the worst prison in the world.
Dude, nice April Fools, dude.
Wait.
Nice
The
April
Maryland
Fools.
guy
You
was
got
shown
me.
to have a previous role in MS-13. Whether or not he's in it currently, he was still
No, he
he was
didn't.
still part of a terrorist
Who did?
organization.
Who?
Yes, it does. So right here, Look, it says
Uh-oh.
it says right here in the article that you sent. It says due to his prominent role in MS-13.
Stinky. Uh-oh.
Didn't read his own article.
This guy before. He was an
No, it
active
says
member of
according to a
MS-13.
court declaration, his attorney says he has
Which
never
one?
had any ties to MS-13.
first one or the
Wait,
second
but
one?
wait. He had
Obviously
a
his attorney
prior.
says that.
He had a prior. He was prior at
Bullshit.
MS-13. He may not be in it now, but if he was prior and he's here, then that's not okay. Whether or not if he had a visa or not, that's a different thing.
I
But if
used
he
to be
was
a serial
part-
killer.
If he was part of a terrorist organization at a time, that's wild.
Which one are we talking about? The gay one or the other one?
I'm pretty fucking sure.
The Maryland one.
I'm pretty
The
sure
Maryland
Osama bin Laden had a citizenship.
Wasn't the Maryland guy like found to be
What was the
a gang member in
status of his
2019?
visa?
Osama bin Laden.
What was his visa status? Because visas can like be revoked.
Mm-hmm. Well, it was live until they did it.
Hey, if you get deported, guess what? You can come back. Wow.
Also, it says on the article that you sent that he was he got into the U.S. illegally at first.
Mm-hmm.
That's not okay.
So he broke the law.
Yeah, he broke the law here first.
Criminal.
So what Trump did with his executive orders was he made it so that anybody who was issued here with the like Asylum Act and stuff like that, unless they can prove that one, they were here for a year, for 2 years or more, and can prove that, or they actually have asylum, not just they weren't just given it because they wanted to come in, then they can have their visa or green card or whatever they had to be quote here legally, when in reality they weren't, revoked.
Uh-oh, stinky.
then why is Trump administration saying that they made a mistake with it then?
Who cares? They can come back. Who gives a fuck?
Who gives a shit?
They kind of can't.
Genuinely, who
If
cares?
he made a mistake, that's great on him for like owning up to it, and
Right.
there's never going to be a type of administration that doesn't ever make mistakes. The
also-
point is
also-
minimizing
It's about the
mistakes,
due process.
making up for them
Also-
if you do make one.
Oh, suck
Is
my
it- is
dick
he
on the
just
due
got- hold up.
process.
No, dude,
How
that's
is
literally
this
what
a
America's
violation?
based on. bro.
How
It's
is it
literally
a
the biggest thing
violation
we
of due
have.
process, though?
What?
It isn't. Even if there was a mistake, it's not a violation of due process.
How is it not
Sure
a
it is.
violation?
Then this one. Guess what? If
How
they
about
had-
you
if
just
they
go
had
Is
fuck
that
sent
the
him
around
back
whole
to
face?
wherever
point of
countries
his
from or whatever
immigration
the fuck
order
is
is to skip due process? Like literally, what are you talking about?
Osama bin Laden
What?
was a citizen.
If you ain't got proof of citizenship, get out. Bye.
You need to prove that in court, though. That's the whole point. Everything needs to be. You need to have evidence and proof. You just can't.
So
you
what
should
they
never
did
have,
was
you
they
should never have a government.
Let's do that for
saying
every
this.
fuck. Let's do that for every illegal immigrant in the U.S.
You do that for every person in America. Yeah, that's under American jurisdiction. Yeah, of course.
I've got an idea. We get the
But they're not
International Criminal
Americans.
Court
They're
to do
illegal
it.
Are
immigrants
they
who
under
crossed our
American
border illegally.
jurisdiction?
So what
It's
they
like
did
those
is they
two
have a
US
list of people
citizens
who they know
killed
are
by,
here illegally,
drone
right?
strike under the
And what
Obama
they're doing is
administration.
they're
They got
arresting
due
those high
process.
priority criminals first, and then they're taking the people who are around them and checking them for citizenship status as well. If they don't have a citizenship status, or they don't have a some way that they're here legally, like actually legally, they're getting deported as well. That's what happened with the gay dude. He was around a guy who was a terrorist who was
because of
on their
his
watch list, and they
tattoos.
knew of
They
him.
literally said it's because of his tattoos.
Who gives a fuck?
Yeah,
He
well,
can come
that's
back.
gang affiliation. Like,
Can it?
You
So,
really-
was
so
he
are swat-
here
are
legally?
swastikas- are
Was
swastikas
he here
and shit a
legally?
gang
You have a tattoo,
affiliation?
that's me.
Yes, swastikas are gang affiliation.
So we're gonna kick out everybody that
I
has
think
swastika.
that's
If you,
political
if,
ideology
okay,
affiliated.
time out. If you go, if you go to, I used to work in a prison. I was talking. Hey, I'm talking. I was. If you go to a prison and you have a swastika on you, you're gonna get marked as a white national,
Correct.
and you're gonna be. So how is if someone has something that's related to MS-13
because
on their
people-
body, how are they not marked as an MS-13 member?
Because I know people personally that I know that have gone to prison and stuff and had to get fucking protection in prison, so they joined white supremacist groups in there, but they're not really them, and they came out and they're not like that. But guess what? For 5-7 years, while they're in prison to be protected, yeah, they acted like them.
I don't know.
you
Have
should-
some moral character and not do that shit. Sorry.
So you want to get butt
Moral
fucked in
character.
jail?
Shut the
You,
fuck
don't
up.
want
That was the
protection?
most retarded shit I
I'll
ever
die on that
fucking-
hill. I'll die on that hill.
I mean,
Fine.
go for it, Tiger.
I'll fucking prison.
Yeah, that's
He won't let
retarded.
him in his house. Hey, you trust him to go to your house, live in your house?
Yeah.
No,
And also, just saying tattoo is retarded, right? Unless it's a specific tattoo, then that's fine. Just saying, oh, he has a tattoo, he's in it. No, that's retarded.
That's my point.
Yeah, let's see the actual
Sam is saying
tattoo.
If he has a tattoo, then you're in a gang.
Let's see the actual tattoo. Let's go. Someone pull it up.
Sam's a tattoo expert, I guess.
I know, but I have experience with gangs. I
I've got
really do.
experience with gangs, so
And
I
they can
know.
vet
I'm
it
looking at
later,
tattoos and I
No,
know
no,
I'm
no. You don't vet shit later, dude. You don't fucking throw. Hey, I'm gonna throw someone in prison, and then a year later, I'm gonna say, "Oh, I made a mistake." That's a horrible.
Yeah, it's like.
fucking-
okay. No, they do that all the time.
No, they don't, dude. No, they don't, dude.
They do that all the time.
drop
No, they don't.
a bomb on them when they're
so
16.
what's
the mistake? What's
So
the
you're
mistake
telling me
that
somebody's
happened?
never been wrongfully convicted?
Sure, but did they go to court? Did they go to court?
Yeah, Trump.
They went through the whole process, right? They might be wrongly evicted or convicted, but at least they had a process to do it.
I'm pretty
If
sure
you're not
this
a
is
citizen, you don't get it.
You do. We read the
This
Fifth
is
Amendment,
you?
bro. It says no person, not no citizen.
Not citizen, it's persons.
Then we need to change it.
Sure.
Okay, well,
Good luck
change
changing the Fifth
the
Amendment.
Amendment.
I mean,
Good luck.
you can
you
go
don't
for
have to.
Hey,
You
guys.
don't have to change it. It's already the law, right? You can.
Wasn't this guy on the protection list because he didn't basically asylum reasons because he's
Oh,
if he gets
that is what it says in the article.
I
So he
sent-
was
I
seeking
sent- I
protection.
sent the
He was
tattoo
seeking
of the gay
protection
artist.
from El Salvadorian gangs, MS-13, right?
What?
Now you can argue, right? Why does he need protection? Maybe he was a gang member, right? And that's why he fled the country, right? Now we don't know, right? That's all we can say. We don't know. The Trump saying, "Oh, we have information he's in a gang, but we don't know."
Oh, you mean like Scarface, political refugee?
and is this the same guy who was like in 2019? They found that he actually was a part of the gang.
Who gives a fuck? Why do you guys care?
Who gives a fuck if he's a part of a gang?
Well,
What
it
do you
seems like there's
mean?
wasn't he part
Being
of the
part
gang?
is not a deportable offense.
Well, if you're part of a terrorist
If you're an
organization,
illegal, if you're an illegal citizen, if you're
not a
illegal,
citizen, then that's
If you're illegal,
problematic.
Yeah, that is. What the fuck? That's retarded. Yeah, if you're in a gang and you're illegally here, yeah, get the fuck out. Yeah, what?
Well, yeah, if
I don't
well, you're a
think
green, so the situation is not necessarily you're illegally here. You're a green card holder, but then you're found to be part of
Yeah, this guy's not a
NMS-13.
green card holder. He was seeking asylum from a gang, and then like you find out, oh, he's in a gang. Like, yeah, no, get the fuck out.
Right, but
And
the administrative
Trump,
error that it
Trump
wasn't like a,
revoked all the asylum status stuff, so he wasn't here
Yeah.
legally.
Yeah, if I have
Because
a
he said
tattoo-
like you have to seek asylum outside of the border in order to be here legally. You cannot just come in here and then seek asylum. You have to have your court date beforehand.
I'm pretty sure
Problem
like
is that the previous administration was giving asylum status to a bunch of people and then letting them in with their court dates set years in advance. What Trump's administration is trying to do is, one, you seek asylum, you stay outside of our country, you get a court date, and then you have your trial, and then you can come in. You have to be here legally and go through the processes.
my understanding was that there was a small administrative
I mean,
error
we
here
don't have
where
to give
the
them
guy should not have
asylum.
been
There's in
cleared to leave
Mexico.
until this was dealt with, but he still should be deported overall because he was in fact a member of the gang and it was proven.
Proven, that's just
The thing is, the fucking Democrats.
Or at least he was found guilty of being a member of the gang in like 2019 or something. And what I remember is the article that blew up about this, like, just didn't talk about that. They just call him a Maryland father, and he's like, there's no information on him, but you know they're forgetting to include the part where he's a gang member or something.
Democrats want fucking welfare-seeking voters. That's why they let people come in for free. All they want. That's all they want. They want Democrat-seeking voters. That's why they say you don't need an ID.
Oh yeah, he's right. Fuck yeah. Woo!
We want Democrats seeking voters. Is that what you
Democrats just want voters?
Even though Latinos vote more for Republicans, right? That makes no fucking sense.
What the? Wait, are you retarded? Like,
Not historically.
they mostly vote Democrat.
What are you smoking, dude?
Do you
Okay,
think? Do you
so
think
they don't
Latinos
vote
have
that
like
way,
a
but
high
their
Christian
morals
values
are.
and stuff?
Their
right?
morals are more.
Hey, hold on, they do, but they still majority vote Democrat. You are factually wrong.
Not this last.
Yeah,
if you look historically as well.
Well, and
Yeah, I
also
think
the
they're
biggest
prison.
argument of getting
Not this
illegals
last
here is
election.
increases your
My
state's
fucking uncle
population,
fucking voted
which increases
Democrat.
your electoral vote when they do the census, because the electoral vote count is based off the census, which does not exclude illegal immigrants. It includes them. So if you have more of them, you get more electoral votes.
Also, Dan, whatever you're smoking, man, I want like whatever you're smoking, supply me with that shit, bro. I need to get that high.
welfare cases are Democrats.
Okay, super.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, there's no fucking rich fucking gangsters coming over. They fucking real Republican. They vote fucking
False. Scarface.
Bruh.
Scarface. That was based though.
Nuclear energy, anyone?
Literal. The
yes, please.
The open borders is just for fucking voters. Fucking voters to fucking to give free candy.
Bro,
to
are
the
you
fucking
like
people
Indian?
that
Why is
want
your
fucking free
accent
shit.
changing?
They
Open
vote
borders,
fucking
fucking
Democrat.
open borders. Y'all, what the?
And they
That's German, right?
Hey, get off him, man. Let him talk how he wants to
Hey,
talk.
you
He can
guys
talk
know,
however he
you
wants.
guys know that in
Full.
2018, at least this is what the last
Fucking
study is, 16% of rural areas get SNAP programs versus 13%. So it's actually the rural areas that are getting a lot of the fucking government aid. So just wanted to point that out.
I mean, yeah, I mean that's
Usually
fine.
the
Like
red
again,
states will get a lot of assistance.
I don't care. The principle, if it's
Mhm.
about like, oh, we're cutting aid to like people we like. I mean, I don't care. Like if it
Mhm.
cuts aid to
Wow,
Republicans, yeah, like we gotta balance the budget. It doesn't matter.
Sure.
That's never being balanced, but okay.
It is funny that the red states are usually a drain.
I mean, again, that's also fine. That's a valid criticism of Doge, right? Because like it doesn't matter if they cut programs, because ultimately it's Congress who decides how much money we get. So I mean, yeah, that's a fair criticism.
Mhm.
The red states are a drain.
Yeah.
Well, that is true. We can cut down on the amount of stuff that is being used for wacko stuff, so we can actually push it towards something that's
Sure. I mean,
maybe
but
a little bit more effective.
What's $100 billion to 6.7?
Gender studies in African children.
With the people who are criticizing the amount of money that they're saving are not thinking about the fact that pennies add up to $1. Even if you save a little bit, it still adds up.
Sure.
So we
what's
should
25 cents?
we should be saving our pennies where we can, so that adds up, and it'll make it easier in the
Is the
long
fact
run.
we're saving anything at all not worthwhile? Like,
But
I
we're
mean,
not.
shit.
You know that he's raising the deficit more than.
How about you go and
4.5
deep throat
trillion.
someone else, you fuck?
Well, again,
Like, honestly, shut up. No one cares about your opinion. Shut up.
Well, yeah,
Red
I'm
states
down to
because you
get.
don't like
I'm
evidence
down to
that
get
are
deep
draining the
throated.
economy, right?
Mm-hmm.
That West Virginia, Alaska, Mississippi.
Hold on,
Alabama,
what are you saying about Trump raising a deficit? I want to hear
Arizona,
that.
like
Montana,
$4
those are
trillion
states that are the largest federal dependents.
Based on what? Isn't the CR like the same like budget we had like last year? Or what?
Oh no, because then they just did the thing right now, right? They just
The-
voted on it.
Well, yeah, the CR. It's a continuing resolution. It's not like a new budget.
Yeah. Yeah, nuclear energy, that fucking crown, that's shit that goes with gangs.
Yeah,
The
that's what I'm saying.
each point represents something in a gang.
So everybody with a crown now should get deported, right?
Bruh, no,
Anyone with a-
those are.
Okay.
Bruh.
Then if you're not gonna debate,
That's
if you're not gonna
purposely
debate in good
being,
faith,
like,
then get out of the
unintelligent.
channel.
No, dude, because there's.
If you're not gonna debate in good faith, then get out of the channel.
I think it's.
I'm serious.
Yeah, no, no. Hold on. Yeah, crown is retarded. I know a lot of people with crown tattoos,
That's
bro.
what I'm
I'm
saying.
sorry.
No,
when you're in a gang.
gang members do that shit.
Yeah,
That's a real
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. So do normal people. Yeah, this is
Exactly.
not specific.
I mean,
That's what
no,
I'm
I have a crown.
Yeah,
tattoo.
yeah. Just a tattoo. You can't say, "Oh, he's a gang member."
But
Who does
that's
he
what-
hang out with? Who is he around?
What are the government's?
know?
That was the government's reason to kick him out. Was
Who
the
are
gang
his
tattoo.
friends? Who does he surround himself with?
I don't know. The government
That's
doesn't
what
tell
you need to look at.
What does
That brought
what
up
does
in
the
the
government
case?
say?
No, right? You just said tattoo, right? Sorry, this is.
I'm going off what I see, and what do I see? A tattoo in the chat.
Of
Right?
course, and
I'm
you're
just
trying
let,
to say
I'm
everyone
let,
with
from
crowns
my
should get
from my observation that is that is some shit that an affiliated member does. Is
Okay, so do regular people.
Here, I googled Tren de Agua thing, found a article talking about an actual Tren de Agua gang member, like proven, and this is his tattoo. You cannot tell me that.
oh, it's a crown. Oh wow, crazy.
Dude, they look exactly similar.
Oh, do they? Exactly one for one.
That's
They're
like
And
they go hand. Yeah.
dude.
I don't know. This is.
There's
I'm
a
sorry.
point,
This
like
is,
skepticism
yeah.
is okay, but there's a point where
A, they don't
too
look
much
the same.
skepticism,
A, they don't really don't look the same.
just
This
makes
one looks way
you
more
look dumb.
detailed. The gay dudes look way more detailed. A and
So you
B,
get a better artist.
Sure, but okay, but
Man,
you're
can
gonna
you
say you're gonna say they're
Dude,
Dude's
what
a
are these guys?
hairstylist.
What are these guys paying
think
you, dude?
He has connections.
Doc, you guys are trying to throw people out over crown tattoos. That's fucking crazy.
No, but
it's not just the
one,
crown tattoo.
It is.
It's
That's
the,
the,
And his
that's the
affiliation.
That was
Exactly.
the
that's
only
not the
evidence
only
government.
evidence.
That is
That's
the only
not
evidence
the only
government's
evidence.
given.
If you're affiliating
No,
with
no.
gang members and you have a
Show me more
tattoo that
evidence.
looks like the gang
Where,
members'
where are
tattoos,
you hearing that this is the only
Ugh.
evidence the government
I
has?
mean, hold on. You retards literally sound like my high school. We couldn't wear the color red because gang members wear the
If
color
a sheep is black and it bars, you know, like if something barks and it's furry, guess what? It's a dog, right?
So
it's
really,
fair.
really
It's
quick.
fair if you want to say it's evidence, right? But to say, oh, get tattoo deported, like
exactly.
Yeah, tattoos not enough for the point.
Yeah,
but
but
also,
who does he hang out with?
Who's
It's
saying
that-
the tattoo is the only evidence? Who's
It
saying
is.
that? And where
It
are
is.
you finding this?
Who is
How
the-
do you know
yeah.
it's the only
Show
evidence?
me
Where's
more evidence. You won't find any.
okay? Here's the problem.
He
You're the
Why
one
are
who's
you
in the
saying
article.
the
You
only
show the
evidence?
here
evidence.
illegally, and he's
Right,
and
you
he's
heard
communing
that
with
story.
gang
The only
members.
evidence is
I
the
think that's
tattoo. Like, where are you? Who are you trusting when you say that?
The government when they
What,
tell
what
you.
news? No, the government
You
did not
trust the
say
government.
that. The White House
Yeah.
press secretary said
Okay, that says more than
ICE
enough for me. This guy just trusts the government.
The White House press secretary said the Department of Homeland Security and ICE have the evidence, and she saw it this morning. The individual was the MS-13 ringleader. The individual was also engaged in human trafficking.
Hey.
If you just saw the headline from the Insane Atlantic magazine, you think this individual was the father, right?
Yeah,
It's
so
like
we
they
don't have
have
the evidence.
shit.
They
You're
don't
saying
have
they
the
have
evidence
it.
exactly.
But
They
you're
say
you are
they could.
you
They
are
say they have
saying
it,
the
but why don't they
only
release it
evidence.
then?
Imagine
You're
defending
saying-
someone that does human
You're saying
trafficking.
the only evidence is
Don't
the
get me wrong.
tattoo.
I think they should. I
Yep.
think they should announce more of the
Court
details.
documents show immigrants
between a
officials
lot of
relied on a
these,
scorecard-like system
but-
using evidence such as everyday tattoos to accuse others, and in this Venezuelan man and justify
Not
their
everyday. Okay, one.
Okay, so is that
got
one
a
metric
tattoo
they
that
use
looks
to
like
determine
that's
who
pretty
to
much
investigate?
every Pendeargo
That's not the only
tattoo
evidence. There's
whatsoever.
no
Court
way
He's
that's the only
communing
evidence.
with gang members, and he's illegal here. Him being here illegally is completely is like the thing that justifies him getting deported. On top of that, he communes with gang members and has
Where's that evidence?
has tattoos that look like gang tattoos.
No, he has a crown.
Those are just things that are on top of it.
No, that's not what the court
where
document
is-
says.
where is the thing about him hanging out with
If
me?
it's
Look,
furry and
you
it
seem to have
barks
the court
and it looks like a
documents. Can you
dog,
link
it's
that?
a dog.
You seem to have the court documents. Can you link that?
Sure, hold on.
Or some article talking about like yeah.
Hold on, you want?
Don't be ignorant. Don't be stupid. Right? If it looks a certain way, if it acts a certain way, it is that thing.
Is it? So every fucking bald-headed fucking skinhead, it has to be racist? No, right? That's not how it works.
Well, if they're a skinhead, yes, because skinheads are racist.
Bro, what
Not
the
every one
fuck
of
are
them.
y'all even talking about,
Just
bro?
say not every one of them are. That's my point. Not every
Because
one.
a skinhead is
Man, this fucking
a gang
nigger
member.
is giving me a headache.
A skinhead.
Hey, there it is.
Oh shit. A skinhead is like a Peckerwood from jail, bro. Like they're all racist.
Not
Exactly.
all of them.
Well,
What do you mean not all of them? Are you stupid?
I mean, I fucking know some that are not, so yeah.
I know racists that aren't racist.
They're not real.
Okay,
They're not real
so
skinheads, then.
Skinhead is basically just like the name for fucking people that are bald.
Mm-hmm.
Like you could just call like any bald person a skinhead.
So if I buzz my head, I'm a skinhead.
Sure, but
Well,
guess
that's
what?
what you're. That's what
I
you're
mean, based by your own
implying.
logic.
Yeah,
Hold on,
yes.
based by your own logic, you are right. Like, oh, skinheads are bald. You're bald.
Bruh.
That's
It's
what I'm
literally
saying.
like
When you
skin-
when you're
like,
making
out
things
of
so
skin
broad as
and,
fuck, dude, I can't
like
believe
the
this.
head's got skin. That's it. No hair. Nothing. Like that's.
Damn, bro.
Yes.
I get what
Don't
you're
make me a
saying,
pinhead.
but this is the thing, right? I'm from the West Coast, and you know the prisons are all segregated, and I'm sure skinheads, Aryan Brotherhood, and all those dudes, Peckerwoods came from the structure that's over here, right? Like
they did.
So it's like, you know, you could be like, oh, you know, I know a Crip who wears, you know, purple, or not purple, but you know, some funny color.
There was
And I could-
red occasionally.
Yeah, that wears red, and I'm like, bro, like that's not a real Crip. Okay, whatever. It's like, bro, you're talking about some goofy ass dude who don't even know the history of like what the fuck it represents. Like, where I'm talking about the real shit. That real skinheads are racist. They wear red. They wear boots with red laces. You
If
know,
they stomp somebody out.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
a no
whatever.
true Scotsman fallacy. In case you didn't know, that's
Nah.
only all true ones do this, right?
bro. I don't know what the
That's
fuck
his
you on
point.
about.
Yeah, like
But
people are
anyways.
not a monolith. Like
He's
said,
in
like,
he's in
in
make
that
believe
gang,
land.
They wear a certain color, and like oh, this guy's not wearing the white collar. He's not a member. Like, no, it's a bit more complicated.
You don't know what you're talking about either, Blazer.
No,
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not into gang culture. I don't know the fucking shit.
I'm not in the gang culture, but I grew up around it, so I know. I feel like I know more.
I've worked in it.
Where is the debate for the January 6ers that you guys are debating so much for illegals? You guys
What are you talking about? They got their day in court. You know how many fucking plea bargains and shit? That means they agreed to it, so they had due process.
Zero tattoos.
Because if you try to face
But
it
they
with
were
the
American
court,
citizens.
it's
No,
like
I'm just saying there's a difference.
90%.
They had due process, right, the whole time.
It's like a
But they were
90%.
American
They were
citizens.
American citizens that pled
like-
guilty.
It doesn't matter.
It's
We
like a
already talked about the Fifth
95
Amendment doesn't care
like a
about citizens. It
95%
says no person.
conviction.
I mean, literally,
They-
it says
they
you
pled
can't deport people without
guilty.
due process,
They
right?
pled guilty, man. They pled
They
guilty.
did plead guilty, so they
Why,
had to.
why would they do that?
What the hell?
Why would they willingly admit?
He's muted.
Gangster with tattoos don't plead guilty, but American citizens that fucking just wanted to fucking go watch the fucking president plead guilty. That's fucking retarded.
Anomaly. I think.
They pled guilty. They made deals. They went to prison knowing the terms of it. If they had a strong case, they would have brought it, but instead they pled. Like, what is the argument? They themselves said,
I mean, this is like a separate thing. Now we're talking about this instead of the original thing with the guy.
We're talking about due process, and the guy tried to say that January 6 people didn't get due process. That's what we're like you're saying.
The most armed
I
party in America,
they
in
won
the history of
100%
America.
process.
Yeah, but they're American citizens.
Sure, they got
They
due
won
process, but if you
1000%
try to
due
win a
process.
case against the federal government, you will fail. It has a 95% conviction rate.
But
Guess what? If you
According to
go for it and you say you're not guilty and you fight the federal government and they still prove you to be guilty, you just
they're
made the
fucking
case
corrupt.
worse for
Right,
yourself.
they're a federal agency. They bring cases when they think they can get a conviction. Like, why would they bring cases that they don't think they can get convictions on?
You guys are protecting fucking people fucking with illegal.
I'm not protecting tattoos. I'm just saying, like, why
they're more
would
innocent than white
why
people with no
No,
tattoos.
the whole point is that you don't even
if they
know.
did not have
It's a bad precedent to set no due process in order to fucking throw people in jail and or deport them or do whatever.
I mean, I'm not. I don't really mind. They're illegal. They're non-citizens.
Yeah, but
only thing I would basically
They don't pay taxes. They go fuck themselves.
How do you know if you don't get the
Only thing
process?
I just want to make sure if there's like a third-party organization to make sure, like,
And
oh,
that's
this
what
guy
the
actually
judges
not-
are, third party.
I guess I'll make the memes. I'll make the memes
Yeah.
with the tattoos and the white people and the fucking.
Yeah, but I'm saying we don't need a whole court case. All I want is
And the
like,
white
oh,
people
this
say
guy's
that-
actually an illegal. He's not a citizen. That's what
You know
I'm
what the issue is
You
with
know
your
what?
idea?
I will
though?
compromise with you,
Constitution
bro,
says
in the
there's
sense
no
of
court
like,
case.
if we want to expedite, like, honestly, so like, if the government literally has like a concrete, like, we 1,000,000,000% know this, and they just show it to the judge with no like case, and the judge can decide, like, look at the evidence, and be like, yep, this guy's totally doop, and sign it off. I would be down with that. But like, if there's like a case, like if this person has like they're a green card holder or whatever, and there's like actual like case for it, then they should deserve a trial, right?
It's also like just be a reminder: not a single person involved in January 6th was ever convicted of insurrection. Right?
fine.
Maybe assault, maybe vandalism.
No, and the highest
you know,
ones were
destruction of
conspiracy
property.
or whatever, and the Proud Boys and shit. They got the most.
Also, too, you realize you're trying to argue that the crime that was charged one time during the Civil War, that should be the precedent that anytime something like January 6th happens, that's the exact charge that has to be brought. That's ridiculous.
It was quite ridiculous, yes.
I mean,
No, it's just ridiculous. What the fuck?
Okay, so if you yourself go up to the Capitol building and you break a window, do you think you're going to get charged?
If the
For vandalism, yeah.
Well, if you break a window, you should get charged for that. But a lot of
Sure.
people January 6th
And
have
a lot of
charged.
people were charged with breaking and entering, unlawfully being in a place that they weren't supposed to be into, trespassing. Like, that's
Yeah.
where the bulk of those convictions come from.
Yep.
Yeah.
And what
Besides
they
the
were
Proud Boys
seeing
and the
on
Oath
video
Keepers, those are
doing.
only two.
The
anyone
problem with a
organized.
lot of
Why
the
did it
January 6th stuff is that their court cases, one, they were being put in an area where a lot of the jury wouldn't, it's not quite a jury of their peers, so they don't agree with them. Two, they selected certain judges that they knew how that they would vote. And then two, they were being imprisoned before their court date. So a lot of it was regarding judicial mishaps. Like, you guys can go look this up, And I'm not saying this is every single one, but there are a select few cases that there were judicial mishaps within their case, and that's a lot of the reasons why
And that
a lot
sucks,
of them were.
honestly. If they did fuck up on a couple people's like cases and shit, by all means, that sucks too.
Yeah,
Like,
like,
it should not.
obviously it happens to people here and there, even outside of January 6th, but it still should be rectified, right?
Sure,
They
I'm
can
saying like
still
the
work
individual
it out.
cases for like those individual cases, yeah.
Individual
Well,
cases.
here's
of
my question: if you break the law in a state that is not where you live, where are you tried?
Sure, sir. You.
Yeah. So if you break this to the young lady that was just speaking a moment ago, if you break the law in a state that is not the state you reside, what state do you get tried in?
And now it's about this.
Like the George Floyd riots where they tore down
No,
statues. and burned down
let's say I live in
courtrooms.
Florida and
You
I break
burned down
the
a
law
courtroom,
in
but January
Carolina,
6th, fucking go to jail.
where
for
do I get tried?
Where you broke the law.
Right, exactly. And where did the January
want a
6ers break the law?
I want a contract.
DC. Okay, great. So as far as this like argument that like, oh my God, they weren't tried by a jury of their peers, they were put against the same standard that every single American would be put in if they went and broke the law in a different
While that is true,
whatever.
And
Fucking
Ashley Babbitt
riots,
deserved it.
burning the American flag, tearing down statues of fucking founding fathers is
Yeah,
not
stupid.
criminal.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, that's whack. That's wacko. I'm just saying that the majority of the January 6ers that a lot of people are mad at didn't actually do anything.
Nope.
If you look at videos, they were actually invited in. Like, obviously,
No, they
if you
weren't.
damage property,
They were
for
never
example,
invited in.
break in.
yeah, they were.
They
They
broke in.
please like walked aside, and they were all very peaceful, staying within the lines.
That was a video.
One at a time.
fucking
Chillax.
open.
Let's not get too heated.
I'm sorry,
So
I
they
speak
were
a lot.
opening certain doors.
Yeah,
to
black
lead them
people.
through to
Right.
essentially disperse the crowd.
Okay.
And
Exactly.
They did
create
not burn
less
shit down.
destruction
They
over
did
time.
not tear
So
shit
I would say
down.
opening the door, yeah, would be considered let in.
Yeah,
They're
like, usually that's
retreating
like
most likely because
Yep.
if one cop's there
That's
and there's
not-
fucking
dude,
500 people,
dude,
they're not going to
that's
fight
not
them off.
retreating.
Okay, wait.
Right.
You
Wait,
can watch the
so
videos of the cops retreating and
if
try
the
to draw
cop
people
opened
to
the
it.
door,
You can
and
watch the
stood there
videos
while
of the
people
doors
were
being
coming,
opened.
were letting
Yeah,
people
they're
So
in.
retreating.
I don't know what the fuck, dude. No, they're not. You fucking tard.
De-escalation. Yep.
They were fucking dispersing the crowd to go on a certain path. So it's just basically like, okay,
Yes.
we're walking in. 2 minutes later, you're walking out.
You're
Ta-da,
walking them
there you
away
go.
from all the Senate and stuff. Yes, correct. That's what I'm saying. They're
Exactly,
retreating
exactly.
to a
No,
spot that they
but,
wanted to
like,
be, and not to
not
fucking
a
go.
They
over to
also
the-
left when they were told to. Like the majority of them
No,
left.
they
For
didn't.
example, I can't remember his name, but some dude who works for, I believe, the Babylon Bee, but that's not really anything of importance. But he went there an hour
It
after.
kind of is when the
Mind me-
Babylon
mind you,
Bee
an
are
hour
literally
after the
big
whole
story.
thing ended.
Huge. Wait a
Wait,
sec.
wait, wait.
Let her finish, and you can go after Huge. Go
All
ahead.
right.
Okay, so this guy, he was in DC, and he went to the hill an hour after the whole thing dispersed. Like an hour after, and he was taking some videos around the line. He did not step inside except for a step on the door frame, and he got arrested at the airport with his wife and with his pregnant wife and child because of that. Do you think that's justified?
Absolutely.
He was in the doorway. Yeah.
How?
Yeah.
Okay.
May I? Can I?
So. Go ahead.
Random bit of news. Val
Republicans don't fight without guns.
Damn, I was talking. Val Kilmer passed away.
If somebody breaks, if somebody kicks in your door and then puts, if somebody kicks in your door of your home and then they step even an inch over that doorway, would you not call that trespassing?
Okay, but did they kick in the door?
Well,
No.
they certainly
There's videos
broke
of police
fucking
officers
windows on
opening the
Facebook
door
videos.
and
Okay.
standing there while letting people
No,
in.
no, that's fine. I'll take it. I'll
That's
take it
the
as an analogy
issue.
quicker. If I were to leave my door open because I'm grabbing groceries or something, and I have to go in the backyard, and then one of my random ass neighbors that I don't know walks in, like puts one foot in my door, and I see it, is that not trespassing?
Okay, that is, but what
Same
the
thing, then.
difference here is they had Capitol Police open the door and hold
Yeah, that's
it
not the same
open
thing,
for
though.
them.
Yeah.
They had it
Could I-
held
and-
open. They were
So
right
can I
there.
ask you a question?
I mean,
If your
so
neighbor
basically, if you want to argue it's crowd control tactics, that's fine,
Yep.
right? But then also like,
Yeah, go
I'm
ahead and
inviting
argue that if
people-
you want.
I am.
Well,
Can I
that's
ask you a
my
question?
argument.
That's my
If
personal
somebody-
Like,
argument.
assuming they were not supposed to be there, right? And the police
Argue
didn't
that
want to let them
Republicans
in, but they
don't
had
have
no
guns.
choice, right? Because again, they're doing crowd control tactics, right? You fucking how do you Jesus
They're not
Christ? What's
liberals.
the word? Charged them with trespassing when they were let in, right? Now, obviously, the police didn't have a choice, right? Again, but like they technically let them in, right? So I
They're
mean, that's a
not
fair argument.
fucking liberals.
So here, let me ask you a
Guns.
question.
We have
I-
guns.
Go ahead.
So let me ask you this. I'm
There was a cache of guns in a hotel room like 2 blocks away. Actually,
I'm trying to listen to
Doesn't
Hugh.
matter.
There's too much autism in
Scenario.
here, bro.
Jesus, relax.
Jesus
So-
Christ.
We all agree.
I'm gonna go, but I'm gonna say one thing just for everybody's information.
Say two things.
You never debates fairly. He doesn't answer questions, so
Yeah,
just watch
you
out for that.
just a retard.
That's
Ooh,
cool.
David here.
All right.
I didn't even fucking hear what
All
he
right.
said.
Well, nice to see you, bud. So
Go
let me
ahead.
ask you a quick question here. I'm sure
Proceed
y'all
to
have seen
that.
a bunch of January 6th footage, right? You've seen a
Oh,
bunch
yeah.
of it. You've probably seen where like cops are being like quote unquote letting people in. You've seen that, right?
Yes.
Okay, great. So with that, where were the areas and what were the cops doing where they let people in? Did they have guns drawn or were they like fist bumping, things like that? They
No one.
I mean, like someone said earlier, some of them were holding the door open, right? I mean,
Oh,
that's
so-
kind of
so
the
I'm
thing.
asking
Like,
you,
like I said
so-
earlier, right? If it's crowd control tactics, right? Like obviously the police probably don't want to let them in, but like if it's one cop in like a crowd of people, right? Okay,
Right.
obviously they're thinking, okay, I have to let them in, right? Which is fair. But
Yeah,
then
they're retreating to a
later
better ground.
charge them with trespassing after they're let in by the police. I don't know if that's fair or not. I mean, you can
Well,
argue that.
Here, I'll clarify the point real clearly for you. In the areas where cops quote unquote let people in, there was no individuals in there that they were assigned to protect behind them. In the areas where the January 6ers literally forced their way in and broke their way in and charged their way in, there were high value individuals there, and those cops had guns drawn. They were doing every single thing.
Okay, I mean
to go
that's
ahead and
fair.
defend
That's
themselves.
fair.
That's
But,
why
I mean
it's
that's a
crowd
separate.
control.
Hold on, that's a
It's
separate
literally
case than
just
what we're
crowd
talking
control.
about, right? Huge.
Yeah, that's a different case. They actually did something to harm, like they broke property and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The difference is that a lot of these January 6ers were prosecuted because they got in because the police officer, the Capitol Police, opened the door and held it open for them, and then after they were told to leave, they got out. My problem is
here,
with the people
let me
who
ask you a
didn't
question.
actually break anything and were let in by the police being prosecuted. I don't have anything against, like, if somebody broke a window, they should be prosecuted for it. If they were fighting with police, they should be prosecuted for it. But if they didn't actually do anything and were let in by Capitol Police, what's the problem?
Okay, so just to be clear, your argument is that January 6ers that were prosecuted, the mass majority of them did absolutely nothing. They had valid
No,
cases.
I'm not saying
Well,
mass
no one's
majority
no
because
one's
I don't know
arguing
the
that. We're talking about
statistics,
the
Okay. Well,
a
here, let
certain
me give
amount
you
of
the
people
number.
didn't actually.
huge. We're talking about the specific scenario, right? We don't. It's been a while since this shit happened. I don't remember what percentage were let in versus broke in, right? Again, but it's
Yeah.
about the principle, right? Now you can argue it's a gray area. That's fine, right? Like obviously the
I'm
police were
not-
like, obviously you're not
Agree.
supposed to hear, but like, what is one officer supposed to do against a crowd of people? You can argue that that's fair,
Yep.
right? Then to say
No.
like, oh well, they were let in, even though maybe the cop didn't want to let them in, but then like, oh, we're gonna charge you with trespassing after we let you in. I mean, that's a fair thing, though. Like, okay, what the
Here's the
Ah,
issue
I'm
with
in
what you're
danger.
saying
Bang,
is
bang,
that
bang.
Those folks that were quote unquote let in, those weren't really the ones that were charged. In fact,
Oh, there you go. Well, there you go. That's
Wait,
also
then
what
what
you
do
have to
you- what do
say.
you have to
Okay, that's
say
fair
about-
enough. There you go.
What do you have to
Boom.
say about the dude who worked for the Babylon Beak? Because that guy, there was a police officer at the door, and they were talking, and he was talking to them.
Okay, do you know what the Babylon Bee is?
Yes, I'm
Yes,
well
it's
aware
the
of the Babylon
satirical
Bee.
news side. Yes.
Okay, but that dude's story is real. He has footage from it.
So the satirical
Read your news.
writer, the satirical writer.
Look,
He's not
this
a
is the
writer
one
for it.
story.
How is
Give me like 10 minutes. I'll find it.
how
Yeah,
is-
take your time. There's a chat here.
how is an American walking into the Capitol like a tourist the same as Americans burning down courthouses and tearing down American statues and
Well,
saying death to America?
Yeah. I'm not
How
saying
is that
that.
not treasonous? But this is
How
treasonous.
do tourists enter a government building? How do they do that?
Walking
They had to sign in.
They don't break in, they just walk
Do
in.
they
sign
break
in.
windows?
No, they have to sign in and they get IDs and shit.
Yep.
Burning down courthouses to get IDs.
Where did that happen?
Didn't.
Fucking George Floyd
Right,
fucking shit, dude.
Forgot that. I forgot.
Burn
Yeah.
down whole cities. Said fuck America. They burned down.
Don't. What
fucking whole cities.
aboutism, bro? We're talking about different things.
If you want to talk about, if you want to
white
talk
people that
about
just walk
burning
into
buildings during Black Lives Matter rallies, I don't think you're going to find anyone here that's going to condone that. I won't.
Right.
I don't think anyone else here will.
But that's more anti-American than somebody.
Hell, I'll do it just for the hell of it. I condone it.
How is literally interfering with the peaceful transfer of power by a lawful election? How is that un-American? Like how is not wanting that peaceful transfer of power?
Listen to his voice. He's not from here.
Walking through it.
Hey, did they
so
like
there's a bunch
actually
of different
interfere?
articles.
Was born here.
Guy's
They're at
name
the
is
wrong
Yaka
building, right?
Masakwai. Put it in chat. This guy, you can find plenty of actual articles about his story. He was there in DC an hour, and he went to the Capitol an hour after everybody else dispersed. He was talking with a police officer, and let me see if I can find the podcast that he did. I think there's also an interview that he did with some other news agencies. Okay, first things first, what type of news do you find most credible? I'll try to find that.
Something
Articles,
that's
podcasts,
super-
etc.
anything that's verifiable against numbers. So if you want to drop
Okay, like what? So like, do you have certain news agencies that you trust?
I try to
It
read. I try to
depends
read
on what
doc-
you
court
want, man.
documents.
You say verifiable against the numbers. You're asking about a
Court
narrative,
documents? I
right?
bet I
You
could
can't
find court documents.
verify
Let me
that
see.
against the
That's
numbers.
You could
what I'm saying.
that's perfect. If you find me a court document, that is what I'm going to believe at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's
Lawandcrime.com.
Okay, Court Lister and Justia Law. Let's see. There's one.
Black Enterprise.
Like tearing down
There's
fucking
one.
statues of your founding fathers. Fucking idiots.
Yeah, stupid.
There's one.
If people vandalize shit, yeah, they should be fucking.
LA
I mean, even
Times.
like right now, dude.
It's
Honestly,
it's a lot worse
people
than walking
people
into
burning
a
down
court.
Teslas and shit should all be in jail too. They're fucking. They're
Yep.
dumb too. Like I agree.
Walking
Like
through a door that you
I
were
hate
invited
Tesla, and I
to
agree.
is not a crime.
I'm just saying, like, I'm not a fan of Elon Musk in general, but guess what? I'm still not gonna say people should fucking tear down or burn his shit, whatever the fuck. Like,
Exactly.
that's retarded.
Exactly.
It's stupid.
Exactly. You get it, man.
Yeah.
You
I
get
mean, I will meme on that. Motherfuckers will be like, Bill Gates is evil. He's doing the mark of the beast of the vaccine. Elon Musk wants to put a chip in your brain, guy.
know.
Come on now.
I know.
Which I mean, I like the chip better, bro. I'd rather have the chip than the autism causing vaccine. You know.
Either.
Cyberpunk, bro. Give me my cyberpunk future, Elon Musk. I want to play 2077 IRL.
Repeal the 13th. Repeal the 16th.
What?
I'm just saying it's kind of two-sided where the Democrats do some evil shit and it's like, it's nothing. And then like
Here's
Republicans-
a good question. Okay, so like between Black Lives Matter and between January 6th, what was Black Lives Matter's like political agenda
Black
versus like what
people.
was January 6th?
White people.
Black
they
people
tore,
can do
they tore
crime or
down
something.
American statues.
No, I asked you a question. What was the political agenda of Black Lives Matter when they were doing that unlawful shit that no one here condones? Versus what was the political agenda of the January 6ers?
The political
Very
So
simple.
the political agenda of BLM was they were mad that George Floyd overdosed on
He did
drugs.
He did over.
Yeah, he did.
No,
Look
he
at the
didn't.
look at the.
Yes, he objectively did.
Anyway,
No, he
was
didn't.
whether or not he
11
overdosed or not,
times the fucking OJ.
That
whether or not
motherfucker died.
he overdosed or not,
did.
that guy
Come on.
died.
Mhm.
I
So
asked,
let's just forget why he died. So George Floyd died, right? They all rioted because of that, and a bunch of people's property and stuff like that was burned down, stores, stuff like that, etc. Now the difference between now I'm not saying that everybody in the BLM riots did something, but a
Can I-
large majority did.
Can I
And
pause you for 1 second? I asked
Yes, go ahead.
I asked you what was BLM's political motivation
She was getting
and
to
what
that.
was January 6th.
Let her talk.
Their political motivation was that what's his name? George Floyd died, and they thought the cop was in the wrong. And the cop is I'm pretty sure the cop got like fired and is in jail right now.
He's in prison, yeah.
Completely.
Yes, he's in prison.
Yeah,
That's
I'm-
correct.
Again,
So
He went to
the
trial, he
difference
got convicted, he
between
got sent to prison.
wait. The difference between that and what the J6ers are doing is Granted, there were some J6ers who I probably think should be in jail because they deliberately destroyed government property and stuff like that instead of peacefully protesting. My opinion is if you peacefully protest, go ahead. But if you break something, if you threaten somebody or something like that, you should be held accountable for it. My stance applies to both BLM protesters / rioters and J6 protesters / rioters. I think that there's two types in each of these quote protests / riots. I think some people in the J6 protest were in the wrong and should be prosecuted for it, and I think the same goes for the BLM riots. I don't necessarily agree with the reasoning behind a lot of the BLM riots because I don't think the guys should have put his knee on his neck, but like I don't really want to go into that right now because it's a really controversial topic.
Sure.
Okay, go ahead.
And no, and I give you credit for seeing that. I certainly do. But here was my question. Okay. What was the political motivation? Like, what changed? What political change?
How do you know
law?
the motivation of
what
the
was
people in
BLM?
January
The
6th?
political motivation is that they were unhappy with what was going on.
Okay,
Hold on,
so
let's
they
just-
weren't happy.
They
with,
both were.
Or were they unhappy
They
with what
believed
happened?
that police
No, no, like
brutality was
both
happening at higher
BLM and
numbers than it
J6ers were
actually-
unhappy with the status quo.
But the BLMers will burn down the country, and the January 6th will just walk into a door.
Okay, so what? But
Most of
again,
them.
But what were they
Again-
protesting? That's what he's asking. What was January 6th protesting?
They think that police brutality was happening at significant numbers.
Yeah,
but
well, I'm saying what
it's
was
not.
he's asking what it was January 6th
That's it.
protesting.
Oh, January 6th.
Okay, so
the-
so what came out was
A lot
a
of-
large portion of they did a poll after the election. A large portion of media was telling everybody that the Hunter Biden laptop was fake. It is now proven to be not fake. It is absolutely real, and a large portion of people were saying that it is actually because it is actually real. It would have changed their vote. That is what they were protesting at that moment.
No, they weren't.
Got it?
No, they weren't.
No,
What's wrong with
they
you?
weren't.
Fuck's
I think the
sakes.
summer
Okay,
alone-
so
Nice-
I'm gonna
nice
just-
try
I'm gonna just start abusing
Did
my
he also
rights.
know that Hunter
There
laptop
There was a
only,
lot of
was
fucking
only,
things
was
about
only
the
stopped for
election
one
that was
day?
quite odd. I'm talking. Hello, a lot of odd fucking things about the election was happening all at the same time. The delay in the fucking counts. A lot of the just scrutiny behind
Oh,
just,
yeah.
like the way a lot of the
Th- that's
laws have
it.
changed for several different states. With potential election fraud, a whole bunch of shit, right? Why are you speaking? Hello? I'm talking. So there was a whole lot of fucking shit that pissed off a whole lot of fucking people, and
They were
believe
not
that
prepared.
Vice President Pence could have done something about it, right? And of course, there was the fake electors thing, yada yada yada. But in all
Why?
honesty, if fucking Donald Trump truly believed that something were to happen, right? This is the part that people seem to forget. If he truly believed it, and the lawyers were telling him that, it doesn't make Trump guilty of anything. It's what would make the lawyers guilty of shit. Now, of course, there'd be a lot of people that truly believed that, yes, what Donald Trump's lawyers were saying was factual and totally correct. And so they went up there to, I don't know, fucking show support, and things got a little crazy and out of control. Next thing you know, you have a fucking riot on your hands. There you go. Essentially,
talking
to
about the
stop the
most
count
armed
and
Yeah,
populace
but
double
it's
check
the
it with the
it was to
electors and all
stop
that.
the certification of
The
the vote, right?
Not necessarily
armed
stop, but
populace
to at
in
least
the
Yes, because
verify.
it was to stop the
To
certification of
verify
the vote
that it
because
was a
they
fucking
believed
vet-
that it was
a
just gone
valid,
too fast without any real
no
investigation.
fraud election.
But they
armed
did, you know
populace
that
in the
there was probably no
world.
fraud in that election because we fucking done like
The
8 million
most
audits.
Are you
armed-
sure? Because there
Yeah,
was like
they've
no
done
actual
audits.
fucking test.
Guys,
Well, there's actually been proven
But there's been
fraud in
audits
certain
against
local
it as
elections
well.
Always
in
gonna be
other
fraud in
states.
some, but
There's always
election
been
like
fraud.
changing
Absolutely,
fraud.
but there's like abnormal amounts.
No, there wasn't.
not even the military
I
can
mean,
beat
there is all the
Republican
time.
people.
No, because the
We're
thing
I
is,
mean,
this
shit,
thing's been
there was
audited.
cases for local
In Georgia,
elections,
they
and then
counted
actually
3
was
times
For example,
and a
why is
hand
there-
count, and they still said he lost. Like
Okay,
a lot of these states
but
had
the
3
problem,
counts.
The problem, there was
and a
about
hand
30
count.
or 40. Okay, there's about 30
Honestly,
or 40
my
thousand
view on
votes
the
that
whole
were
thing
essentially
is
suspended. And what
Yeah,
happened
so-
with those?
What
Like
was
there
that?
was a shit ton of votes that essentially were suspended, removed for various number of reasons, and we never went over the 30 or 40,000 potential
What are
votes
you
that were
talking
just
about? Like I said,
essentially
this has been
thrown out.
audited forever. So
These-
which state, which claim are you saying
Okay.
that this happened?
This was in Georgia. In Georgia, there was about 30 to 40,000 votes that were essentially thrown out for various number of reasons.
Are you
This
talking
could have
about the
been,
fucking State Farm
incorrect
thing?
address? No. What the fuck
Okay.
are you talking about? No.
No, okay.
I'm telling you. Stop. Shut up. Fuck.
Dude, just drop the
Jesus
link.
Christ, what's wrong with you? Fucking.
What the?
Whether who knows what the fucking reasons? There's 1,000 different fucking reasons why they could throw out a vote. Incorrectly sealed within the envelopes themselves, incorrect address, potential
Did he go before court?
ID problems, a number of fucking reasons.
the
who
world.
knows? But there was a shit ton of them, and none of them were actually fucking checked. You can say, "Oh, but we counted." I'm not talking about the ones that counted. I'm talking about the ones that weren't counted. So when he was saying, "Find me 11,780 votes," he was referencing the ones that were essentially suspended, the ones that were thrown out. Who knows what they were thrown out for? Because they were never fucking
Where's
checked.
this? Where's the evidence that they were thrown out? How about this? Because the thing is, if you're making the claim,
what do you-
and everyone's
no.
making the claim that this happened, where's the evidence?
What are you talking about? The evidence of them being thrown out. There, in every election, you're going to have some ballots that are
Dinesh
incorrectly
D'Souza,
filled
look up
out
that
and get
fucking
thrown
11,000
out.
votes.
That this happens with literally every fucking election.
Yeah, liberals debunked it.
I don't. Why are you saying that there's no evidence of votes being thrown out?
Videos are
Because
fake.
that's the onus is on you. Because you're saying that there was enough to change the election.
Hello, Dank-sided. In every election, there are potential ballots thrown out for a number of valid fucking reasons. But were they all valid reasons? We don't know because they were never checked.
You guys lost both elections in
How many votes?
Wisconsin.
How many votes are we counting?
I don't know. Why was that relevant?
Well,
It's super relevant because you guys lost and we won. That was awesome.
You know what's
Okay,
funny?
well,
is,
we won fucking everything, so cry about it, bitch.
The
There you go.
Republicans can take over China.
Well, not next year. There's going to be a blue wave. You ain't getting.
Wait. Anyway,
Hey,
what we're
hey,
talking
here's-
about
here's my-
Wisconsin.
here's my
we're
question.
talking about
Yeah.
fucking January
Here's
6th, the
my
whole
question,
purpose of that.
yeah.
Is that good enough
If
for you,
you-
Excited, or no?
Well, I couldn't hear because of Billy. What was that?
Or do you are you just going to accept that, like, yes, that in fact that there are valid reasons to throw out votes?
No, I don't accept that.
What do you wait,
There are valid reasons
So
to?
if I fill out a ballot
Didn't Doge find
incorrectly,
that- all that shit?
they should just count that anyways.
What do you
2-year-olds
mean?
that
What do you mean
voted?
if you fill out incorrectly? Like put the wrong address? or
Like
something?
I go to the wrong address, but perhaps that would be one.
Sure, I
yes.
guess.
Like I'm in the wrong
5-year-old
precinct. Okay,
voting.
so
Wrong
okay, so
address.
there are potential
hold on,
reasons,
hold on.
right?
Wait, do you think if you're in the wrong precinct, you can vote in that precinct?
No, you can't, and that's what I'm
Right,
trying to
so
say. Was
what is
that
that-
that's a
well, then
valid
how-
reason to remove a ballot? I'm not disagreeing with you, huge.
But that
I don't
doesn't
know why.
happen.
Okay, you're just retarded. I'm not talking to you anyway. Dankside, are you? So
So,
you are
wait,
aware of the
can-
fact
can
that
I
there
see if
are
I can
going to be
explain this in a way
some
he might
reasons
understand?
to throw out ballots.
So can I try to explain it in a different way that maybe he
No,
might
I'm gonna
understand?
fucking mute you next. Dank-sided, are you gonna sit there and fucking accept that there are valid
course,
reasons
there's
to throw out
reasons.
votes for a number of reasons?
Is there valid reasons? Probably, yeah, sure.
And there's bias reasons.
Great.
too.
No, there's not bias.
So the number for
the
Georgia
point you
was about 30 or 40,000. I'd have to double check what the fucking number was.
Would they
So is it
vote on
possible, out of those fucking 30 or 40,000,
No.
that some were incorrectly thrown out?
Like I said, this thing was counted 3 times. There's been 60 court cases.
I'm not talking about the ones that were counted, dipshit. I'm talking about the ones that were thrown out and never counted.
I've seen
I'm
videos
saying
of people
it
ripping
would be on
Trump.
you to show that this happened. You can say it could happen. Sure,
Holy
anything could
fucking
happen, but guess
shit.
what? Without evidence, it doesn't mean anything, right?
Why were they thrown out?
I don't know. You're saying that.
Well, you have to-
Great. We are asking the same question. We don't know either. That's what we're trying to get to.
Well, no, you have
Fuck
to-
me. It's
do you
not
have like
that
a source
fucking
that they're
hard,
not
bro.
counted a third, that those weren't counted
Dude,
when they're doing the recounts?
What are you talking, brother?
That's what I'm saying.
Are they not going
Just,
through this?
just
Like,
said
counted
they
that's
were
a real
counted. When
question.
you say
Hey,
they were
you-
counted 3
you,
times, we're talking about the ones that were valid and we're going through the count. I'm not talking about the ones that were previously thrown out
But
before
when,
they even
I'm saying
fucking
when they
counted them.
do an audit, do they go back and check those or
No,
not?
they don't fucking check those because
Okay,
they were already
then-
fucking thrown out
Can you
because they were already
explain-
incorrect for whatever fucking reason, and we don't know what those fucking reasons were.
Can you explain the deficit between that and then when Donald Trump won this time? There was like 20 million fucking vote difference.
Well, for Georgia, it wasn't that many, and you only need to flip one
It
state
was
here.
like
I'm saying
five.
there's like
It was like 4 or
five-
5 million less for Kamala and like 3 million 4 million less for Trump. So it was like 8-9 million people less voted this time. If I recall.
There's a huge populace that didn't vote.
like 15 million.
Yeah, honestly, you know who it was? It was the tanky far left people that didn't vote. That's what kind of fucked the Dems. They didn't come out. They didn't like Kamala
15 million people?
because of fucking. It wasn't 50 million people. It was.
I didn't say 50. I said 15.
Oh, 50. I don't think it was that. Was it total? I don't think it was that many.
Yeah, out of missing. When we sit there and compare the last 4 years and the previous four, the previous four, there's about 15 million that were just not present. They just vanished without a fucking trace. Don't know where they went.
Discrepancy, and nobody wants to talk about it.
Yeah, wait, hold up though. Don't you think though, during a year when everybody was locked in their house for months on end, that more people were probably paying attention to like TV and stuff while they were locked in their homes, and that
perhaps it was because of a fucking shit ton of mail-in ballots, and then half the fucking country was locked in because a bunch of Democrats all whined and cried about COVID, which was like a marginally worse than the flu. When they had ballots shipped to their fucking houses, they were probably more likely, especially considering that there was why are you speaking? Fucking Christ, dude! I'm not just keeping muted. Yeah, when there's 1,000 fucking ballot boxes all over the fucking county, in every fucking county after county, yeah, it was a lot fucking easier to get your fucking mail-in ballot put in one of these boxes. So yeah, there probably was a significant number more. 15 million more? A little less likely.
It
but
says 10 million actually, but yeah.
Okay, 10 million. Oh, sorry. Well, there you go. It's still a fucking shit ton less. So all of a sudden, 10 million just disappeared like that, like a fucking real quick, boop, gone.
Well, I explained to you, it was actually a lot of the far left people that didn't like Kamala's
all
policy.
The far left people.
No, I'm talking about the super far left, the tankies and the fucking like Hassan Piker, those fucks, those people. They fucking
those people they didn't
far
vote.
leftists.
So they never voted. They hate Trump so much that they just decided to not vote for Kamala
because she was pro genocide. They call her, Genocide Joe is what.
Oh, was because of Israel.
Yeah,
that's the reason why she didn't choose fucking Josh Shapiro.
Yeah, probably. I'm just saying there's probably a lot of.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, but like there's.
But she didn't choose Josh Shapiro. She chose.
Doesn't matter. She was linked to Biden's policies. Therefore, people that think that way. Thought that way. It's just what it is. That's why fucking. That's partially why Trump won Michigan.
She said that she wouldn't change anything, and everyone was like, "Holy shit! None of this shit's been working under Biden. So why the fuck would we vote for Biden twice?"
I'm talking about.
It had nothing to do with. It had nothing to fucking do with Genocide Joe or whatever the fuck.
No,
it was because she was a fucking shit
There's a group
president,
of people that didn't vote,
and then
they
she
voted
said that
for
she'll do everything that the shitty president did.
If there's a group of people that voted for a president, and then the same thing came up the next time, and they don't like this one thing, do you think they're gonna vote for them?
You really think it's gonna be the one fucking party issue that was like, oh my god, the Palestinians,
It was
brown
a big
people
part.
over
It's
there.
a big sector.
Yeah, that's it. Nothing else.
It's a big sector of people, right?
It's huge.
I'm pretty sure that she would fucking fight for like scoops and get like Roe v. Wade back, right?
Why can't you just answer the
But,
question
like,
seriously, easy? If there's a big sector of group of people that don't like,
I don't think that
policy,
sector's
do you think
that
they're not
big.
going to vote
There
for
you
her?
go. I don't think
that
that's
accounts
10
for
million.
10
That's
million.
not 10 million big. There you go. There's your answer.
Let's say the age
no.
of 24,
The answer's
18,
no.
18
The
to
answer's
25
no.
year olds,
10 million big? No.
18 to
It's not
25,
that
you
big.
far lefties.
It's
How many
not that
people do you
big.
think that is?
Not that big.
Ooh,
It's a lot. It's going to be a lot of other fucking issues, and I'm
I'll give
pretty
him-
sure she would fight for fucking abortion a lot less than
That's
she
not the-
fucking,
that wasn't
or a
their
lot
issue,
more
though.
than she would fight for fucking Palestine. Oh, really? They all cried about it. In fact, they actually leaked the Supreme Court ruling before it even fucking came out.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, no, I think they cared about that a whole lot more. What are you talking about?
who are you talking
The Roe v. Wade shit that came out, what was it, 2
yeah,
months
I'm saying-
prior or a
Isn't
month
that
prior?
lead
They
to
leaked the
Supreme
shit.
Court justice,
Right? That's like
getting
highly
assassinated?
illegal, right? They really gave a fuck about their scoops. And I'm pretty
I'm
sure
talking
they
about-
gave a shit
that's not
a
what the
lot more
people I'm
about
talking
that
about
than
cared about,
fucking Palestine. Nobody gives a fuck about Palestine that fucking much.
Ooh, yeah, they do.
I kind of agree with you.
Not
100%, but
10
guess
million
what?
people.
Was the tanky people fucking or taking over colleges and shit over abortion?
Not 10 million.
Was a lot
No,
of
what,
not
what
10
were they
million
taking
either.
over for? What was the reason why they were doing all the riots?
Well, I mean, it's hard to keep up now
It
at
was-
this
it was
point. I
for
mean, they were
the
all crying
Palestinian
about
shit,
fucking
right?
police
Basically, it was-
brutality. There was Israel Gaza shit, but that was
Yep,
really
that was
just
all
after
of it,
October
basically.
7th. That was after October 7th. I mean, that happened.
I forget what state it was,
mainly.
but wasn't there a group
There
of
was a lot
people
of
that took
abortion.
over
In
a
fact,
state?
few state capitals. Yeah, state capitals over abortion. There was quite a few of those, but that's not an insurrection apparently. Oh, somehow.
It could be.
Right? They're literally in the fucking capital.
Yeah, they probably.
But
could be.
nothing bad happened there.
I just
Convenient,
wonder,
isn't it? That they can go straight into a state capital, right? And whine and
Double
cry,
standard.
shouldn't piss themselves, right? But no, I guess if we do it, no, not allowed.
That's what I'm saying. Like, what if the George Floyd whole thing was Republicans instead of Democrats, and what would the difference be? You know what I mean? And what if the Democrats would have been the ones storming the Capitol?
I don't think you can set up a situation where you have unethical behavior for Republicans, for conservatives.
You'd probably have like Democrats being held accountable and no one bitching about it.
Also, huge. The reason why,
like,
while you DM me fucking retarded shit, I muted you because you wouldn't shut the fuck up while I was talking. That's why I muted you.
Dude, there might be like a lag for a second, but the second I heard
It's not a lag for a second. It's for like 4 seconds. I'm just talking and you're just going on.
4
And no one
seconds.
can understand what you're saying.
Valid.
Let's keep it to the topic. You and I can have a side conversation via chat if you want.
I don't really care enough.
Am I biased to think like the Democrats do some psycho shit where they SWAT teams and helicopters go arrest somebody for some little shit, and like Republicans just whatever, they don't even defend themselves?
Wait, hold up. What are you talking about?
He
I'm talking
doesn't
about,
know.
Every time like a Republican does something, they want to send the SWAT teams. They want to fucking go kick indoors, but then when the Democrats do like shady shit, nobody does anything about it.
Can you give me an example?
Perfect question.
I don't know, quid pro quo. Biden saying like, we're not going to give you the $1 billion Ukraine if you.
Okay, well,
what about the New York mayor? That's pretty corrupt, right? Openly. Nobody's doing
What
nothing
about
about it. Mayor Garland,
what he did?
whatever his name is, right?
By
That
the
was
way,
quick-
I'm not
that was
sure what
literally
you're
quick
going
pro
on
quo.
about here with the 10 million, by the way. I just literally went on Wikipedia, the most liberal fucking place to go for voter turnout in the United States presidential elections. And it literally states here in the chart, like you just scroll down like fucking 2 scrolls. And 2020, winner votes, 81,283,501. 2016, 62 million.
Nope, you're wrong. It's
984,000.
It's 71.87.
I'm talking about the 2016. There was a big ass spike. If you want to talk about, there would have been a 4 million ish, but all of a sudden 2020, it's the difference between
look at
2016 and
now
2020
compared to
was
24.
18,298,000.
Yeah, but compared to 24, where we keep it the same way.
18.3 million just fucking appeared.
You're not comparing apples to oranges. You're comparing apples to oranges. One didn't have mail-in ballots, so why don't you compare it to 24 numbers, which has mail-in ballots and all the shit we do currently, and that's going to be closer to the number, which, like I said, was 10 million less this election versus last election.
Well, and
I
if I
don't
can,
even think 18.3 million would be accurate even with mail-in ballots.
Wait, did we
I
still
think
have
the
mail-in
extra-
ballots in
I don't-
2024? I thought that was done with COVID.
What was that?
We still have mail-in ballots? Like, I don't think it's the
Yeah,
same
we
as
have-
20
Not
last.
to the same degree. They
Yeah.
didn't have fucking ballot boxes and like on every block, like at
No,
every
but
Starbucks.
also we had
Like,
early
it was-
voting this time, and like we changed how we voted. Now,
We've
per se.
always like had early.
Yeah, we always
voting.
had early
It's-
voting.
Like I don't know what you're talking. We've always had that.
months early. No,
I mean, also, that's
Yes.
also like again,
Yes.
that's also fair.
Like,
that
what do you think that
sorry,
they
go
do
ahead.
with like, let's say, veterans that are like overseas, for example? They
Yeah,
they
that's-
can do
that's-
early
that's mail-in.
voting months early. They can
Yeah,
also
them.
do
Those are, like, the only
mail-in,
people back in
especially
the
as
day.
well. There are methods in which they can vote while, like, let's say they're over there for fucking their 3rd year. Okay, they're overseas in Bulgaria, like fucking Jackson. Okay, obviously
why is
he's
there-
not going to be able to fucking do a mail-in ballot for fucking the next 3 years and be like, oh, I'll vote for that 3 years later. No, he has a mail-in ballot. When it comes to early voting, he's not going to be able to do 3-year early voting. It's not the same.
then what?
But grandma could go
Republicans-
and say, well, we'll do our last vacation before we fucking die, and we'll do it in 6 months from now. But it's going to be a
No, but why
6
is there
month fucking
160
vacation.
year olds voting,
Right.
170 year olds voting, and 5-year-olds
So-
voting, and young people voting? and
Here's a question then: if mail-in voting is like that corrupt, then why did the Republicans prior to the 2020 election had the most well-funded mail-in voting just infrastructure and campaign over the Democrats. It was only COVID that pushed the Democrats.
Hold on, wouldn't that make sense because the Republicans have more rural voters?
Probably.
So it's
That
okay
does
for
make
them.
sense. I mean, logically, it does follow, but
And military voters too.
So it's okay for rural voters and for military members. I agree with you on the military, but it doesn't make sense for anybody else. There's no other situations you could see that would make sense.
No, I think it makes no sense to have mail-in voting either way. I don't give a fuck who does it. The fact of the matter is, there's no way to identify like this ballot came from this person, confirmed with an ID sent with it at the same time. Like it's not. There's no person in hand. It should be.
I mean,
you
technically,
go there
if you want to go
with your
that route,
fucking ID, and then you fucking vote.
if you want to go that route, you can always get a notarizer. You can go to like a bank and vote in front of them, and they have to notarize it. So I mean, if you wanted that kind of security, you technically there is a way to do it.
I'll put something in your hand.
Well, one quick question: did you have to register to vote?
Dirt, you have to register to vote. Dirt.
Yeah, did you have to register?
Yes, you have.
Okay,
to
and you had to provide an address there, right?
Yes, you have to.
And when you register to vote,
you just feel like a DMV.
Right, and you have to provide identification there. You have to verify that it's you. There's
Not entirely true. There are a lot of circumstances in which, and there's a lot of weird shit with this that's becoming like an increasingly larger issue where you'll see people, and it could be like at outside of a library or a school or something like this, but you'll have essentially people that will assist people. It's more information on how to register, but there'll be some circumstances in which people are literally registering people that aren't even allowed to register. If you can actually find these posts online where there'll be people that aren't eligible to vote. They're immigrants here, right? They're not like naturalized citizens. They're not like American citizens. They cannot vote in a national election, and yet they'll make posts looking for like some sort of like legal recourse on how they can correct this kind of issue because they've already registered to vote. They didn't know it, and then they fucking voted. And they're posting online of like lawyer subreddits and fucking forums and shit. They're like, I don't know what to do in this situation because I'm registered to vote and I'm not supposed to be, and I've already made my vote and blah blah blah. Like this is already a fucking problem. It's not like you just go to the DMV and that's it. And of course, there's other methods to like register. Like, they send you like mail-ins essentially to register, and you have to send it off to the county and whatnot. Those exist too. But there are other methods to register to vote.
Okay,
and the problem is the people that do that kind of shit, they're not checking the fucking IDs with these people. They don't actually know whether or not these people are immigrants or legal citizens, and they're just fucking doing them.
One, I appreciate you bringing up that point because I was asking my question to you. Do you think that it is just people just not doing their job to a level that gets to like potentially like general presidential election determinant level? That they're just not doing their job, or do you think that they're stealing this information and then they're using that to register? Which of the two, or if there's a third avenue, which do you think that's going
little A, little B? I mean, it's some people just being fucking pure lazy. Some people doing with ill intent, knowing that they can get these people registered to do a vote that would swing in their direction. I mean, it's but it's like no matter find them. It's the hard part.
Have you not seen videos?
They haven't. But they've done a lot of recounts. They've looked it over quite a few times. Even like Trump funded things like that, they've looked it over quite a bit. They haven't even found it in their things. So like, what margins are you talking? Where are you seeing it? And why hasn't it been brought to court by even lawyers that have a responsibility to bring the best case for their client? Like, what am I missing?
All of these cases were thrown out on standing because they thought it was ridiculous to even hear the court case. You can't say there's no evidence because the case wouldn't even be heard.
Evidentiary standing.
Well, there's that too. There is one example in which a Texas Attorney General charged a lady, and she got like fucking conviction for it. She like ballot harvested like 1,800 fucking ballots. It's like some wild fucking number. Like hot on video doing it too. Texas
Number one, though,
slandered ass.
But ballot harvesting, number one, isn't an illegal thing, and number two,
But the
even
method that
if
she was doing it,
but-
she was essentially filling out forms.
well, then that's not ballot harvesting. That's called fraud.
Yeah, well,
There's a
there you
distinction
go.
there because ballot harvesting
What?
is not illegal and fraud is illegal.
Why do you do this shit? Why do you do this, huge? You argue
Let
in
me,
bad faith.
but let me ask you this though. So if Trump had the evidence, it was just thrown on standing, and it's just corrupt, even in that sense, even the judicial sense, like the weaponized judicial system, right? Then why isn't that information public? He's been talking
It
about
will be
everything
public
for
in a lot of these
while,
cases.
but where is it public? Why is it not?
A lot of it's public, but it's not going to just pop out on your fucking Facebook feed. You're not going to like find. Most
I've
people
looked
aren't going
into
to be
it
able to
quite a
read legal speak, and you could say I've looked quite a bit into it. No, you haven't.
Okay,
That's the problem,
can
is
you?
that, like,
What is the
you
most
don't know where to
compelling?
fucking look or what to look for. Like that's
What
the
is the
problem.
most?
There are
What is the most compelling?
millions of fucking documents that go through government offices every fucking year.
What
You're
is-
not reading them all.
What is
Yeah,
the most
bro. Watch the
compelling
documentary,
legal or
2000
governmental
Mules.
document that you've seen that I can look at right now to convince me differently? What is the most compelling one that you've
Why
seen?
don't you go watch the documentary
What-
2000 Mules?
I got an
That's not a
archive list
government
you
or
might
legal
want to see,
document.
dude.
They
I
won't
asked
they
for
won't buy that. What specifically are you asking for? I might be able to find one for you.
a governmental document that has been signed off through declassification, through the whole 9 yards, through being reviewed by legal whole 9 yards,
Oh, so a
something along
document
those
that
lines,
doesn't
or
exist, you
something
can't
that's been
got it.
presented, or something that's been presented in front of a court under oath.
What if I have one? What if I told you I
Did you
have
not
one?
hear what I just said about this stuff? It was thrown out on
what's-
standing. So nothing
what's
to that
specific?
specification has ever happened.
Okay, can you define standing for me?
Me personally,
They didn't bother with it in the court. Okay, you want a government document presented to a court that
Why the fuck are people just fucking?
I didn't ask you.
Why can't we just vote
You
normally?
want a
and not
government document
mail-in
presented
votes
to a
and
court
COVID
that
and this
does
and that?
what? That does shows what?
Where'd you post it, man?
I'm not fucking posting anything yet because I haven't even looked it up yet. What do you fucking want?
Oh, something that would show that there was clear misconduct
2000
by that would have went ahead and detracted from Trump in the 2020 election. Anything that was presented, proven, and seen
of
before
the
court under
social
oath.
media posts of post office workers who said that they were specifically targeting and throwing out Trump ballots.
Awesome. I will tell you I'm wrong right now. You can just drop the case for that.
It's gonna be difficult because, like I said, most of them were fucking dismissed. Now you can even ask any AI at this point in life, and
Because
I'll
they
tell
did-
ya.
because they didn't have standing and they didn't
60
provide
lawsuits
supporting
filed
evidence.
across multiple states. I know that much. I know there was 60 fucking lawsuits filed.
Just because a case
across a
wasn't
shit ton of
heard based on quote unquote standing doesn't mean there wouldn't have been any evidence during discovery for an actual
Again,
trial.
I think I asked you directly if you could define standing for me.
Why? What does it matter?
Because you're
Why don't-
trying to
why don't you
argue
go look it
something
up?
that I don't
Why
think
don't
you
you go look it up?
It
understand.
says the
Why
capacity
don't
of
you
a
go
party
look
to
it up?
bring a lawsuit to have standing means a party must demonstrate a sufficient connection to or harm from the law or action being challenged.
Well, the one problem with that is when it comes to harm. No, technically speaking, no harm would have been done until after the election, because if it was to harm him in a way in which would deny him the presidency, this wouldn't have happened until he loses the election officially and is not president. But then there's no way to go back on it
But
and
it-
remove the new sitting president and then revert the votes to the other
But it-
candidate and then have Trump be the president. That's the issue. It's like
But in the entirety
it's
of the
the perfect
60
storm.
cases-
They won't, because there is no harm. They won't hold it. But the harm is it's potential harm. That's really what they should fucking.
All right, so can we
but that's
both
the issue.
agree
The
that-
law doesn't work in that way.
But can we both agree, though, that the lawyers that represented Trump, they passed the bar, they would have had to have known even just that basic.
What does that matter? What does that matter?
The reason that it matters is because you can absolutely try to go ahead and make that argument, but at the end of the day, if there was any proof of what Trump was claiming, and he was not claiming what you're arguing, it wasn't like a news thing. It was literally a stolen election. I do know that because their arguments that they put before the judge, to which the judge then ruled against them on lack of standing, they made their argument, and at no point did they claim that there was like disinformation or anything. It was just a straight up stolen election. These like votes were just stolen. So if you want to have a separate argument about disinformation, we can do that. But that's never what the Trump administration said.
There is no separate argument. You're being pedantic as always.
Again, it's just not the argument that the Trump lawyers made.
You think it's legitimate.
It says so,
you
like,
think, oh,
honestly,
everything's
so
all
it's
good,
not
man.
the argument.
the legal case says even those who suffer tangible harm may have the cases dismissed simply because they don't have the access to the facts necessary to establish individual standing, or they didn't allege such a facts in the proper manner. So, aka the Trump people already went to the judge and showed them some of the evidence, and the judge says, "Is that all you got?" And they said, "Yeah." And they said, "That's not enough. Then you don't get a case because they know you won't. There's no point in wasting the time of having a long case where you know you're going to lose because you just don't have enough evidence even to pass the minimal threshold."
Also, too, there's a burden of trying to there's a burden of
That's really
proving,
curious.
but there's also a burden of just proving that there was harm even committed in the first place. So somebody can't just walk into a place
Why
and
are you
say,
trying to be deterministic with the outcome of the trial before it even happens?
well, because there was going to be a trial, and then Trump put some stuff in, and it never happened. So, like, what trial are you waiting for?
The trial they never got before being jailed for 4
Yeah,
years.
you seem to feel like everything's all good in the hood because you got your way. But
how
What do you mean I got my way?
How
Trump,
about Biden making
you
millions
seem
of
to
dollars on
agree
a
with all
shitty
these
pension
judges
to
who
the
heard the
Chinese?
evidence and decided, you know what, we don't need a jury of our peers or anybody else to
Yes,
decide.
but
I'm going to
here's-
decide.
Well, here's the thing, though. If the Trump administration would have all of the lawyers through all of the cases, through the election, everything leading up to January 6th, if they would have once put forth a single piece of evidence to support their claims, I would give your argument so much more credence. But they didn't even do that. They didn't even do that.
No, that sounds inaccurate.
How
How come
Okay,
I have
prove,
evidence I can pull up?
prove me wrong.
Hunter Biden.
You mean
selling
give
paintings-
evidence. You keep
selling
give evidence.
paintings
You keep saying
for
prove
millions
me
of
wrong,
dollars
prove
to
it
China.
wrong.
Okay, well, one guy's bringing up Hunter Biden, which the Trump administration never argued in court. Never argued that.
I'm just saying he made
Just
millions
ignore
of dollars.
Fusion. He just says stuff in the background.
And for the other gentleman here, like, can you show me where the Trump lawyers went ahead and put forth like something that said other than, hey, these were stolen votes directly. This was a stolen. They never argued a PR thing. They never argued anything besides.
Your quote is
stolen
probably
votes.
inaccurate. It's not that it was stolen votes.
Fraudulent, stolen, incorrect,
I don't know. You just
unlawful.
said you're the one who wants
choose
to be
the word,
pedantic
buddy.
here.
You choose the word.
I don't really care.
Okay, so can you
I think beyond
back
a
to my
reasonable
main
doubt there was
question?
evidence that there was some level of fraud in the 2020 election, and just
Okay.
declaring that the judges said, "Nah, I don't see it. Let's throw it out," and then saying that's your absolute fact for no, we shouldn't have gone further ahead with the result of any of the court cases is kind of stupid.
Well, no, you and I can agree on one thing. I do agree with you that to some level, there's fraud in every election. I agree with you. The difference that we're going to have here is I think that is such a absolute minuscule, I mean, just bottom of the barrel.
If you say so, that's like your opinion, man.
Well, here's what I can back up my opinion with. Numbers. Can you
What
show
number?
me? Well, I can just show you year after year the amount of election fraud cases with either ballot tampering.
You're trying to argue
ballot
historical
stealing.
precedent for 2020 when 2020 was against historical precedent entirely. So I don't know why you're trying to be
Well,
like, this is totally normal.
Well, do you think that like all ballot fraud or like election tampering is just done through mail-in voting? Do you think that's historically accurate?
I don't know, man. I don't purposely try to fraudulently vote. So, But the reason we're bringing up 2,000 mules and ballot stuffing and ballot harvesting and Hunter Biden is because these are all pieces of evidence in which votes could have been swayed in a way that was disgenuine, or people could have been filling out ballots for people who didn't actually want to vote for that person or would have voted at all.
So why didn't the Trump lawyers ever bring up anything about?
I don't know. Why didn't they?
Why didn't they bring
Do you
up
think
anything?
they did, or do you think the judge just said, "I don't need to hear it"?
How about this?
In Georgia?
Move on.
How about
There's
any
no
state?
cases for the
Wisconsin.
2020. How about something just intentional? Okay, let's not just say intentional, because there's a difference between intentional fraud and fraud from a mistake, just like bad record keeping, right? These are clearly different, vastly different. Okay. There was a 1997 Miami mayoral election. Okay, this is a fucking long read. In this election, incumbent Mayor Joe Carollo lost to the challenger Xavier Suarez to a narrow margin, with Suarez declared the winner based on a significant number of absentee ballots. Carollo contested the results in the case, went to court. Prosecution, representing Carollo's challenge, presented evidence of widespread absentee ballot fraud. This included testimony and documentation showing campaign workers for Suarez had forged signatures, cast ballots for deceased voters, and pressured elderly and disabled voters to sign absentee ballots that were then filled out by others. A key piece of evidence was a batch of 5,000 absentee ballots, many of which were traced to fraudulent activities, such as ballots mailed from single addresses tied to Suarez operatives. On March 4th, 1998, Judge Thomas S. Wilson, Jr. of the 11th Circuit Court in Miami-Dade County ruled in favor of the prosecution. He found a pattern of fraudulent, intentional, and criminal conduct in the handling of absentee ballots, determining that the fraud was sufficient to taint the election's outcome. The judge's decision didn't attribute the fraud directly to Suarez himself, but held the misconduct by his campaign supporters and validated the results. Rather than awarding the election to Carollo, Wilson ordered the November 4th, 1997 election avoided entirely, citing the impossibility of determining the true vote count due to the scale of the fraud. The new election was mandated, and the subsequent March 98 runoff, Carollo won. So the fact is that it is possible. I think that's really the point I'm trying to get at, is that fraud is possible. But if it doesn't even go to fucking court, how are you ever going to verify whether the election was actually legitimate or not?
But it did go to court.
No, it didn't. It got thrown out.
It got thrown out.
I don't think you understand what you're talking about at all.
They had
because it got thrown out because there was no damage, okay? But you don't seem to understand when I say there was no damage. In this case, this is a mayoral. This is just for election for a mayor. You can fucking get the mayor out. You can tell him to fucking resign. Get him the fuck out of there. They can run another vote, okay? There is no process to throw the election out at a national scale and run the vote again. The damage wouldn't have happened until January fucking 20th, the next year, several fucking months away. That's when the damage would happen. But like I said, even if there was damage, and even if there was proven fraud, there is no process to undo the fuck up.
But the Trump lawyers couldn't even name anyone.
Why do you keep saying this like you know that happened verbatim? Can you pull up an article for what they did verbatim?
Dude, I don't have to drop an article. You can just read the transcript.
No. I want to see it. Why don't you?
I don't have to provide evidence.
What's the question?
Oh no,
why don't you read them then?
Why don't you give me an article that shows me exactly what their methods were, how far they got in the process?
Did you not even hear what I said? I said I don't even need to drop the articles. I can just drop the court documents, the ones that are under oath.
Cool. How long are those? Am I going to be able to read that easily? Or are you going to just try to stymie the argument by giving me a 50-page report that I have to slog through, as opposed to just giving me the main point?
Dude, you don't want to read the full, you don't want to get the full context of the Trump argument.
No,
that
don't
Trump
act like I don't want to
lawyers
get the
make
full
your own
context now, because in a normal conversation, you want to say, do your homework and read 50 pages of bullshit.
Well, sometimes that's what you have to do, though.
Dude, you want me to give you some other person's words to interpret the argument?
The point that
That's brain dead. That's brain
lawyers
dead.
did do their job. What didn't they do to do their job better then?
What? What didn't they do to do their job better than?
Exactly. You're trying to say that they represent all the evidence, and I'm saying no, they probably didn't.
How about this?
because they were thrown out. There was no actual court hearing.
I don't know what they could have that's just a brain teaser of what you put in there. I don't know what they could have done.
Is it, or do you just not want to answer?
Well, there's like Wood versus Rathensberger. There's Donald Trump versus Brockvar. There's Law versus Whitmer. There's Ward versus Jackson. There's King versus Whitmer. There's Trump versus Wisconsin electors. There's Trump versus Biden in Wisconsin. There's a bunch of court cases and you can go over exactly why.
These are all in swing states that went blue, right?
This is what
with
this is
governors
the election fraud
and
case.
judges
These
who
are
are
his
all
cases.
run blue.
Go blue. Wait, what year do you think we're talking about? Do you think we're talking about 2020 or 2016?
What do you think?
I generally don't know.
Speaking of brain teasers,
they went red.
This is so embarrassing.
Well, I'm saying that these are all the cases, and you can read why they got dismissed and stuff. So I mean, like it tells you. So I mean, like I can link it. You can go into every case.
What it tells me the judges and the governors were biased and didn't want to hear the court cases because they already wanted.
You don't want to read the full transcripts. But
why are you acting like I don't want to read it?
You're providing. Oh, those are biased. You want me to
cool. Link it then.
I linked you the cases.
Link it.
I linked you.
Link it.
I did. I got you in the case. But yeah, there's all these cases. You can look at every single one. It'll tell you. I mean, it's gonna
great.
Be dense
they're all going to say the same thing. They're going to say, "Good job, fam," but we're going to call it in because we won.
No, dude, you don't even have to. Like, you can just read them, and then you can come to your own opinion.
Anyway,
but you don't even know what's
do you have another argument? You just keep saying you can just read them.
Yeah, dude, you could just read them. Like, you want to argue them, but you haven't
this
read
one says, in a 4-3 decision, the Wisconsin Supreme Court dismissed 3 of the Trump 4 claims under the doctrine of latches. However, it decided that the merits of Trump's claim that voters wrongfully declare themselves indefinitely confined. Ultimately, the court ruled against Trump on this claim because Trump challenged the statute of all voters who claimed an indefinitely confined status rather than individual voters. Trump petitioned to the United States Supreme Court for a right of certiorari in December 29, 2020, with a motion for expedite consideration, but the court denied his motion. Even the Supreme Court did on January 11th. So even the Supreme Court turned him down on this specific case. So I'm saying, like, all these cases are going to have the Supreme Court at the very end even dismiss them. So I mean, it's pretty bad when the Supreme Court says you don't have a case, right?
With his judges,
there's a 4-3 vote now.
In this,
so now
in
do I
this
have to
state,
do the homework of going and looking up the voting record of all whatever these judges.
Well,
and see, did they vote in favor of?
Yeah, but my end point is it went to the Supreme Court at the end, right? All these cases went to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court said that they don't have enough evidence to do what they're doing, right? And it's like Kavanaugh. He has 3 judges, right?
Earlier, I brought up the idea that like post office workers are making social media posts about them dumping ballots, which is illegal.
I know, but
my
point is that he had cases against these all. No, you were asking
something like 19% of Democrat voters that they wouldn't have voted for Biden if they had known that story.
Dude, again, I don't think that going off of memory
beyond the pale of just people.
It had nothing to do. They didn't. In most of these cases, they didn't even evaluate the evidence because the fact they said that they didn't have standing and that the courts could not offer any viable remedy.
Hughes doesn't know what the fuck that means. So
no, I just told you. But either way,
if a court goes and says, "Hey, what?" The Supreme Court doesn't have the authority to overturn or even force a new election.
Does the Supreme Court have? Does the Supreme Court know what standing is? If a case has enough evidence for standing?
Yeah, understand this. Normally, when a case gets to the Supreme Court, they're not evaluating the evidence of a case. They are evaluating the procedure and whether or not that case matches with current case law and the Constitution. They are not evaluating the facts of the case. They are not evaluating the facts of the case.
When you're talking about having standing, you're literally just going over the evidence of the case. This is what the person shows me is like, this is their case, and the guys.
That's not what standing means. Where's somebody go and wake up? What's her name? There, we need an attorney in here.
It's literally where you just state who did you wrong and what they did, and the Trump lawyers could not do that, and it went all the way up to the Supreme Court.
Like how you keep saying
many
they couldn't do
appeals,
it.
dude? How many fucking appeals? Like a ton.
Well, that's not even necessarily true, though. Again, it was
What do you
they
mean?
were evaluating whether there was any remedy that they could offer. There was not.
Okay.
And
Let me ask you
on
something.
appeal was at the lower courts, and then the appeals courts were asked to
Let
go
me-
and review it because hey, we're being told that that the district court won't go and hear this, or whatever the state level equivalent. Stop.
Does anyone remember on January 19th, 2024, in a federal courtroom in Atlanta, before the U.S. District Judge Amy Totenberg, that fucking J. Alex Halderman hacked a Dominion voting machine with a fucking pen? That's it. He changed the fucking votes.
Nah, not only
with a
that sounds like
pen
election integrity
in
to me.
front
This is
of
a safe and
fucking
secure
judge
election.
in a courtroom in Atlanta, a federal courtroom in Atlanta.
I hadn't heard
This
that.
is
I
part of a
wonder if it started-
long-running lawsuit, Curling versus Raffensperger, initiated 2017 by voters,
Yeah.
right? And the Coalition for Good Governance, right? This was a security expert who was just showing you could just reboot the fucking machine into a safe mode with a fucking pen, gaining complete
wait.
admin access and changing the results.
Well, wait,
all
wait.
within
It's going
minutes.
to an admin. Wait, it's going
Fucking
to an.
minutes.
It's going into an admin status. So, like, wouldn't that reset that to a degree? Like, wouldn't that just?
No.
Oh,
put it
are
in
you
fucking
bullshitting right
safe
now?
mode.
He was
also showed
he
you could
demonstrated
just plug
that
a
it could be
fucking
taken over.
USB and just install Morse code. Right, he did this within minutes. I think he even did it on fucking video. I think there's a video of this shit of him doing this because here, and at least in Georgia, I'm not sure if it applies for this one. We don't just have fucking backdoor fucking courts and that's it. This shit goes on fucking video.
So let me ask you
So
this:
things go on video, but again,
I mean,
even
not to be mean, but
it's
didn't Fox News just get Didn't they have to pay a bunch of money to Dominion for lying about shit? And all
Yeah.
these people like. So you think these court cases haven't looked into all these shit to see that this is all fucking probably bullshit? Because why would Fox pay $1 billion?
Yeah,
and
was
my
it-
pillow guy had to pay like $45 million. Like all
yeah,
these people had to pay
it was
these
a damn
people, right?
travesty. It was a travesty, and this is why it was a travesty. At the end of the day, they were reporting what was reported, by this, like this guy at in the court, showing that with a pen you can go and send it into a fucking safe mode and gain complete administrative control over the machine, including changing votes. He showed it. He demonstrated it. But that was not evaluated by the courts. The courts did not evaluate these cases based on facts. They evaluated it based on whether it was even a hearing that they could hold, even if it was a hearing that if they found that there had been wrongdoing, that they could even go and remediate. If a court cannot offer, understand this right now, if a court cannot offer a remediation to the wronged party in a civil court, they not only will not, they cannot hear the case because they don't have any way to go and correct what was done wrong to
So
you.
why did Fox pay?
And that was the case.
No, dude, you don't understand standing. And let me explain it to you the best way I've
Oh
heard it.
boy, I
Here's
can't
what
wait to
standing
see
I
is.
literally just
Here's what
explained to you.
standing is. Your explanation was incorrect. I hate to break it to you, it was incorrect.
Okay,
What
thank you.
standing
Let's have
ultimately- what's-
Saul Goodman over here tell us what standing is.
Yeah, I'm happy to. I'll put it in like the most basic terms I can. The difference between having standing and not having standing is going to a police station and saying arrest that guy and expecting the cops to go ahead and arrest them versus going and pointing at the other
That's
guy.
not true at all.
Arrest this guy
Holy
because
shit.
That's not true.
Bro, stop memeing. Stop
so
memeing.
stop.
Oh,
so anyways, standing in a legal context refers to a party's right or capacity to bring a lawsuit, right or capacity to bring a lawsuit or appear in court, demonstrating a sufficient connection to and harm from the law or action being challenged.
Right.
This includes the capacity to sue, injury in fact, redressability, which is what I was
Stop
talking
reading. Why
about.
don't you stop to support the party's participation in the case? You didn't read that last part. To support that party's participation in the case. You cherry picked up to that point. You still got
yes, because that was the important part, you dumb fuck.
No, because
that's
it's all
what
important.
they decided
No,
on.
now when you're dealing with the law, it's all important, bro.
No.
the
In the
point,
case of
because
these,
you
in
have
these
somebody to
cases,
point against.
shut up, Yuge. Shut up, Yuge. Anyways,
I know, brother. It's
Dank.
okay.
Anyways, Dank. In these cases, it was decided that there was no redressability, that the courts did not have the ability to go and remediate the issue at hand. They couldn't change the certification of the vote. They had no legal ability to do that. They had no legal way to go and stop the counting of votes. They had none of these things. They couldn't call for a new election, etc.
No, that's fine.
They didn't have any of those tools available to them, so they could not hear these because they were unredressable.
You're going to tell me that Trump
End of
couldn't have
story.
fucking... actually, technically, yes, they could, because all these cases were brought to the Supreme
That's
Court on
not
January
what the course
11th.
is.
January 11th
That's
is when
it,
they...
yes,
That was 9 days
yes,
for the
and
certification. So technically, if the courts would have said by January 11th that this can go
And
on,
the
they would
courts,
have had it figured out by
there's
20th, right?
What legal standard did they have to go and change the vote? They
Who
had
changed the vote?
none.
Who changed the vote?
They could not
The
do a
Supreme
recall
Court could-
election federally.
There's no opportunity for the courts to order a recall. Now, if you would be correct if there was an opportunity for them to order a recall federally, and for them to say no, we're just not going to do that. If that had been the case, you would have something. You would be more correct than incorrect. But there's no standing for that in any of the United States outside of a few states. Cough, cough. Looking at you, Florida. And actually, I don't even know if those laws are still in the books. So you
What
don't
about
know what you're
Maricopa
talking about.
County? What about Maricopa County in Arizona, where Trump had the Cyber Ninja audit done?
Yeah,
Completely
again, Donald Trump fucked up here. Donald Trump fucked up in my. Now, keep in mind, I'm not MAGA. I supported a different candidate in the primaries, my guy. I am not MAGA at all. Everybody here that knows me can go and tell you that. Donald Trump fucked up. Donald Trump keeps trying to go on about the courts evaluating the facts of a case. They wouldn't even hear the case because of the fact that he lacked standing to go and call for a new election. There was no legal mechanism for them to do that, and they had no redressability. That's why his cases weren't heard. He's got good. There's good evidence that, like the Dominion voting machine example, there's good evidence that these machines can be easily tampered with.
Maybe, see, I gotta be honest, my internet's not awesome, so maybe my connection broke up. That's not what I asked you. I asked you the Cyber Ninja Maricopa County audit that was completely Trump funded, that was completely trying to find those inconsistencies that you're talking about, found literally zero.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the fact that the courts did not hear these cases on the facts. Yeah,
Well,
and I don't know what I don't know what to tell. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. In Maricopa County, Maricopa County, which has seen a huge influx of California voters, probably I personally lean towards that there was no real interference or fake votes in this election. I think that there was ballot box boosting, which is illegal in states, that they just decided that because of a fucking pandemic, they were going to go and change the rules without going through their formal rule changing process.
So then why did the Republican National Committee, why did the RNC GOP have the most well-funded mail-in voting campaign?
This time around, the most recent election, because the fact that they learned their lesson.
And not only that, they did preventive measure to not get fucked over, like in the Buck County in Pennsylvania.
Both are. Are you autistic to the point where you don't understand that both of these things are possible?
No, dude. What I'm saying though is the GOP, the RNC, that literally go ahead and try to get Republicans elected. They care a ton about election integrity. I think you would agree with me, right?
Yes.
Okay, great. So they do. So then why were they they had the biggest by far, by a massive margin, over the Democrats on mail-in voting and remote voting, any way you get somebody to the poll prior to.
They also remove illegitimate name list. They also
What?
did that.
What list are you talking about? The legitimate name list? What the fuck are you talking about?
Was it in Wisconsin? I don't remember.
All right. Anyways, here's the reality. In the 2020 election, the Republicans didn't think that any of this was going to be necessary. That they really didn't think that this was going to go and shift the vote that much, or that Democratic-led governors and legislators were going to go ahead and again allow batch gathering of votes, even though in states like Pennsylvania it's illegal. Now those states could have shut your mouth.
He just keeps
And-
doing it. You know.
Anyways, Huge, those states, if they had gone through their rule-making processes, every state has a process in which the states can change the rules, change laws, etc., change regulations. I assume that you understand the difference between a law and a regulation. That right there was not done in most of those states, and nobody realized just how much of a problem this was going to be. Now, fast forward to 2024, and the Republican Party realized, hey, if we're going to go and fucking do this, we're going to have to go and beat them at their own game. And so they, instead of doing what they did in 2020, saying, oh, we're not going to go and participate in this stuff. We only want you to vote if you're in person. It's not a real vote if you don't do it in person. They said, let's do mail-in. Let's do this. Let's do that. Let's do all of it.
Just a reminder, for the last 3 elections, 2016, 2020, 2024, Democrats not only spent more money for all past 3, they also did earn more of the mail-in ballots for the past 3.
Doesn't surprise me.
Right, 16.5 million compared to 13.2 for 2016. That's for ballots, mail-in, of course. 2020 was 40.7 million compared to the 20.3. And 2024, 42 million compared to the 34 million. So there was a significant jump, definitely, absolutely, yes. And then for funding, all right, 2016, 1.4 billion compared to 950 million. 2016, 2020, 1.7 billion Democrats compared to almost that's billion and 70 million. And then 2024, 1.8 billion. This is compared. It's for the campaign plus committees and all that, compared to the 1.2 billion.
I don't know what that has
So
to do
the numbers
with
have
anything
gone
with
up
voter
more
turnout.
and more and more overall.
Oh my God! Can you
But
just
once
extrapolate
again,
a little bit?
Democrats they do spend more money, and they still do more mail-in ballots. These numbers are increasing. You know,
But here's the
in
issue with the
parallel,
argument
essentially.
right here. So if they're increasing their dollars, so they increased it from 2020 to 2024, they lost 2024 across the board.
Yes, because of the fact that now anomaly
shitty person.
They ran when they ran a shitty unelectable person, but also Republicans answered the bell. Republicans turned around and said, "Okay, we're not going to go and lose at this game. You want to play this game? We'll play it too."
Yeah, I mean,
Like, this isn't hard to understand, and I don't think that you're this retarded. You're
No, he's
just being
arguing in bad
confused at this
faith and being
point.
pedantic, and he's being a global piece of shit like he always is.
For
Dude, the
16
argument
to
was
20,
the Democrats
Where's somebody like
spend
fucking
more
Jeff to
money,
go
they,
for
when they
a
vote
permanent
in,
difference.
they sway
7 million
elections, and
ballots.
then I just pointed out that the Democrats apparently are spending more and more and more, and they're not winning. So that's why
they
it's
ran a
they had a
shitty
horrible
candidate.
candidate. We had
Right.
How about this?
So
we had a
Trump-
brought up
Trump
as
said,
president. for
Trump
3.5
has said 3
years.
elections are rigged, and he's won 2 of them. So are they really bad at rigging them, or what the fuck? What's the issue?
Yes, they tried to go and push more mail-in voting, more ballot harvesting, etc. They ran such a shitty candidate even with everything that they did, they couldn't win this election.
I'm saying all 3 elections. In 2016, he said it was rigged. He said in 2020 it was rigged, and he said in 2024, and he happened to win 2 of them. So isn't it weird?
Yes,
that
2016
I don't think so. I think
was
you're
him.
remembering Hillary Clinton saying that.
Yeah, Hillary Clinton said that was
did
rigged
she-
because
did
the
she-
fact
did
that
she
he was in
did
bed
she
with
make
the
court cases-
Russians.
Did she run court cases against Trump?
try to appease you.
No,
Did she
I
ever
was about to say,
did
didn't
she
the
ever file
DMV
one
try to
court
go run
case?
some court case?
Did
No, they
I don't
tried
know,
to go
did
and get
she?
him prosecuted for Russian, quote unquote, Russian collusion, and all they
Yeah.
managed
Yeah,
to
the
find
Steele
was a couple of
dossier and
guys.
everything that came
Yeah, the
after.
Steele dossier, which was written by one of her fucking ardent supporters, and then all they could do was find a couple guys that they found guilty of tax evasion or some bullshit.
Roger Stone was talking to the
I mean, they
Kremlin
just
and a bunch of people,
made
so actually
shit
they
up.
did find things. But
Isn't that
Yeah, have you
like
ever read? Yeah, you know that Roger Stone and what's his name, the General
what about Paul Manafort?
Flynn, General Flynn, the transcripts of those phone calls are available. They fucking lied because of the fact that they didn't want to go and end up with egg on the face of the current administration, and they wanted the other administration to go out, just fucking fade into the night, and then we'll come in, and then we'll go and start having conversation, in the open once you're, once you're in and once they're out.
But isn't that illegal though?
Yeah. You know what? Completely correct. It is illegal, but this was an unlawful, but their hearts were in the right place. You can't even
But
admit
it's still,
that.
I'm not saying
So-
whatever. But I'm still saying it's illegal. So I mean, therefore, that's why like, people like Paul
Wiretapping
Manafort-
is illegal.
yeah, dude.
Wiretapping is illegal. Too.
Yeah,
I
wiretapping
always
is
feel that- I
illegal.
always
Making
feel
a
that
false,
the heart
bearing
was
false
right
witness
place.
is illegal.
I would say, yeah. I'm not disagreeing.
I mean, dude, somebody steals your car, but their heart was in the right place. They're gonna pick up their kids. You're cool with that,
Hey, are you
right?
talking about this new
Yeah,
FBI
apples and
files
oranges.
thing? What's this
Apples
new
and
FBI
oranges.
files?
I'm glad that they did
I
preventive
wish
It's all good.
preventive
Yeah,
measure, so you
yeah,
cannot win an
fine.
election anymore. You dumb fuck. Okay,
So-
they
so
removed
you-
people from
you
ballot
don't you
that
have
was
homework?
ineligible. They found some corruption in Buck County, Pennsylvania. You want to gloss over that, right?
Yeah,
Because
there's always some fraud, but not enough to sway the election, right?
Yeah, dude. Do you want
That's
to get
the
the
claim.
details? Notes.
Yeah.
the claim is that they went looking out for it in 2024, and they find some. They find a lot actually.
Wow, one county in America. That's wow.
No, they
You're
removed
right.
like some
You're right.
million of
You're
ineligible
correct.
voters.
Bucks County
still
this
probably
past
study for
election.
midterm.
Yeah, but Bucks County this past election was quite literally possibly the most important fucking county in the United States for the Republicans to win. Period. Motherfucking period. What the fuck are you talking about?
Disagree with you 100%. There, you got Erie.
That's
County.
fine. You're intellectually dishonest.
like,
The fuck.
Loudoun
The fact that you're not
County,
muted yet
and
isn't
then
fucking.
one.
I mean, I muted only 4 times.
Miami-Dade. I mean, that's swayed general elections as a whole. Like, there's just
Loudoun County in Virginia. Virginia is probably not flippable at this point in time because of all the federal employees. So Loudoun County actually doesn't really matter that much at all. So I don't know what you're talking about there. There used to be what was the county?
As someone who's actually in Miami-Dade County and did actually, do volunteering for well, it's not volunteering. I did work at the polls during that election, this recent election. I did see a lot of Democrats basically, wear a whole bunch of fucking Trump regalia. So
It's almost like Kamala was a shitty candidate and Trump was way better.
Yep.
What about? Wasn't there just some stuff released about FBI files, literally for the fucking 2020 interference or something? What was just dropping today about?
Not that.
Oh, that was on
not that I've
Tim
seen.
Pool. I haven't watched that yet.
I have no clue.
Yeah,
I hope
I
it's as
understand
riveting as the Epstein files. Those were a
No, this is This is like meddling FBI
doing
meddling in 2020 election or something. I don't know what.
This is the same shit you do. You gloat and you try to walk around like you're smiling between your teeth every time you form any argument here.
I'm enjoying my time
Yes,
here.
no,
sure
you're just
you
an
are.
intellectually dishonest fucking cuck, dude. Fuck off.
Hey, you know what, dude? We dealt with dude. Hold up. We dealt with your fucking Biden for 4 years. Now sit back and deal with our fucking shit for another 4 years. I don't give a fuck. Bro.
And if you need to drink yourself sick to get over it, then do it.
Get the fuck over it. Get the fuck over it because we dealt with it, bro. Seriously, like I'm in your face right now over the internet, looking you in the fucking eye, and like holding up my hand to like shake your hand vigorously and look you in the fucking eye, right? You little kid, you little kid. Deal with it. Fucking deal with it because look. Again, 4 fucking years we dealt with it. Your fucking turn. Don't care. I really don't fucking care. And then after 4 years, do your fucking shit or vote in midterms.
thank you for the super firm mental handshake there. That's
because that's how we have to. That's how we have to deal with you. You're a dead fish handshake, and you know it. Every time you shake someone's hand, you're dead fish.
Gotta be firmer than your entire
The issue is
backbone,
the reason I'm on a
Have no
conservative
spine.
server here is because like I don't agree with the left and I don't like where the right's at right now. And
Well,
I
you must be real lost then, because you must
and I
argue with
love
everybody.
I don't give a fuck.
So you have no
We don't give
so
a
you have
fuck.
no print. So you have no principles. Just shut the fuck up, dude.
You're
Just
just
sit
a
down.
flaming homo.
Can we be done with this guy, please?
We put Trump back
I
in
would
there to meme.
just
We're
like to
getting our
say-
memes, and it's fucking great, dude. I'm loving the memes, especially those White House fucking posts for fucking the border, right? The fucking
dude, I
songs.
gotta
funny
agree
ass
with
shit.
you. I do love the memes. Those JD Vance ones, those ones are pretty supreme. I do like those.
I would just like to mention that right before I left, I did warn you guys about this to begin with, that he has no opinions and he's just here to argue semantics most of the
I
time.
already know.
Yeah, I have a
December.
Dude's a lousy. So you're a lousy debate, bro. Dude, please, somebody fucking mute this
All right,
asshole.
well, test it out.
Again, I warned.
Nah.
At what
Hate
point
to
is
say I
it?
told you so.
At what point is it an election interference where they're prosecuting like Trump, like in broad daylight, showing people that like he's a bad guy, we're going to prosecute him, he's evil, he's doing that. Isn't that an election interference?
Who cares? Let's let the Democrat Party squander for a little more time.
I mean, would you not want Biden to be prosecuted for his crimes if there were crimes there, even if he was?
There are, but it doesn't matter. He's not gonna.
Yeah.
Well, let's say it's
Yeah,
back.
in
let's
fact,
say it's back
there are,
2017,
but the
right?
court said that he's too incompetent to be fucking convicted.
That's
Yeah,
true.
they said
He's
that.
too
He
Oh.
retarded, and so
That
they
guy
were just like,
sucks.
nah.
He's too
Yeah.
retarded to stand court, but he's not retarded enough to run the country, though.
And Hunter
Yep.
Biden is a millionaire from China.
I don't know about
Oh
that.
yeah,
His
Elon
crackhead
Musk.
son's living at his fucking house and shit.
Painting shitty
Being a
paintings in
crackhead
China
living
pays
on the
millions of
fucking
dollars.
Hey,
road.
let me tell you this.
It's
Have
not
you
like
heard
he
that?
didn't see the fucking documents in the garage
y'all
when he was
hear
shooting
that?
up the Corvette.
Did you hear Hunter
But I
Biden
guess he just
taking
forgot
20?
those fucking documents were in the garage.
Have you heard that Hunter Biden's taking $20 billion from Saudi Arabia?
Oh, you can do the Jared whatever the fuck or
Yeah,
the
that's
other
exactly what
Jared
I'm doing.
whatever.
That's
Yeah,
exactly what
yeah,
Which
I
is
don't
stupid
care.
because it's not the same. We already talked about this
Oh,
earlier.
right.
It's really not the same because Jared Kushner made his money after he was in government, not during and not before. So
And
unlike
who's this-
Hunter, which
Kushner?
Hunter,
No, Kushner's fucking his dad's the
And dude, who's this
contractor or
fucking?
something, right?
And who would be
made
Jared?
it
I
after.
can't do
Jared
this with
Kushner
this
made it after.
jackass.
I know.
Jared Kushner
Yeah,
made it
this
after.
shit's cooked,
Moving
huge.
on.
Everyone's
Can we move on
sick and
for
tired of your
Yeah, but Kushner's pops is
any
a big
other
fucking
topics?
real estate investor. I
Any
can't
other
I'm
remember.
sick and tired of being sick and tired.
We do something else.
Any other topics?
I got one.
Not
Go
you.
ahead.
These nuts.
Let's go.
Like, God, Jesus Christ.
Anybody has a cat here?
Okay, let's get along, guys. Let's talk about
It's
something
painful as fuck.
bipartisan.
We should deport all the illegals. Sounds very bipartisan to me.
Fact, I'm gonna get deported by my.
Oh yeah, and if you don't like the deportation thing, you can just go check General One fucking side chat. I left a big ass fucking message that filled up nearly the 4,000 characters available on the reasons why and all the laws saying that we can do it and that we don't need judges to do it. You know, courts,
Anomaly.
whatnot.
I love your optimism. I think that
them off too far away, man.
Due process, my ass, bro.
Fucking
You do get
terrorists.
due process,
Fuck due
bro. We already got over
process.
the Fifth Amendment.
they do,
Due
but they,
process
wait, they do get
You
due
can go
process, but
ahead
that's through
and
a
you can read
judge.
all
That's
the
not
laws.
through
I laid it out very
jury.
nice and fucking clean for you, so you can go read it your damn self. I'm not gonna go over it again.
Again, Anomaly, that's very charitable of you to assume that these people can either read or want to read.
It's morally it's they can't comprehend. That's the
I forgot.
problem.
What does the
They
Fifth
can read it all
Amendment say?
day, but oh, I'm sorry. Did you read what I fucking posted or no?
Oh, I don't care. What is the Fifth Amendment? The Constitution's the law of the land.
Blah,
right?
blah, 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 blah. Oh, okay. So you didn't read what I said. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Then I'm
'cause
not
I
gonna
care
have
what
a
the
conversation with
Constitution
you.
says. Yep, that's
Okay,
what
well, I
matters.
care if you read what I fucking said, what I posted.
That's what the Constitution says.
That's what I say. You should do. You should fucking read what I posted.
Ready to read?
Fuck your fifth. Fuck your due process.
Oh, fuck the Fifth Amendment,
They
right?
endorse
Of course.
terrorists like
I know.
Hamas.
So
We
you
have
guys
the
are,
ability
you
to
guys,
get the
you do
fuck
not
out.
like rule law and order, right? Oh, makes sense.
Treasonous bastards.
Yeah.
Listen,
party of law
how
and
many
order is not
times
the
I
party
gotta
of law and
tell
order
you?
anymore.
Get
Makes
your
sense.
hands off my sausage.
Let me know when you've gone ahead and read all that shit. And
I don't know what
Duck
satanic
sausage,
culture
duck down
he
and get your shit.
worships, that he gets all this energy that he can argue in bad faith.
I mean, it's a Fifth
Yeah,
Amendment.
Charles Kushner, real estate developer.
I don't understand why we can't agree that somebody breaking the law is breaking the law.
Breaking the law.
I thought the law.
I even made a shorter version. Okay, so detention. INA Section 236A lets DHS detain an individual on a warrant, moving him across facilities. Deportability. INA Section 237A 4B, linked to 212A 3B 47. Flags his speech as endorsing terrorist activity, making him deportable. Then we can remove them. INA Section 238B allows DHS to issue administrative removal if tied to an aggravated felony. Speech is linked to prior conviction, reclassified with terrorism intent, skipping the judge and skipping the court. And then the executive power, all actions, detention, determination, deportation, rest with Department of Homeland Security, no judicial oversight required in this process. If you have a problem with it, take it up with the fucking courts.
Hey, if somebody walks into your house, can you deport them?
You can deport them
I
with
can
a
shoot
40
'em.
Caliber.
You can do worse than that.
Deport them.
Depend on the state.
I prefer.
Depend
Somebody
on the
walks into your
state.
house, they're
Hell yeah, you deport them. You deport them straight to hell.
Why don't we analogize things easily?
Thanks, cited. When this obsession with due process appear in your mind, when the media told you so?
It should be always. 'Cause that's rule. That's like the most important thing in America.
It's pretty funny because
due
that's
process
the
is for citizens of the country, my buddy.
No, it's not. Fifth
Yeah,
Amendment
that's the-
says
that's-
any person.
That dang cited. Where was your outrage when fucking January 6ers were unlawfully detained for 4 years without
They
due
don't care.
process?
They don't care because their side was
Not
doing
even
it to
that.
us.
They took plea deals, which means therefore
Not
had-
all of them. Not all of them. Some of them did not. They went 4 years without due process.
Yeah, what are you gonna go fight the government? Is there like a 99.9999% fucking success conviction rate? Come on, grow the fuck up, dude.
Exactly.
What?
So due process is only like viable when the media told you to care about it. Right?
Hmm. Oh yeah, that's their talking point. That's all they've been hitting on the past week too. It's like a fucking record. You know that you can just hear it. You know it.
Hey, how about
Don't be honest, bro.
talk about some other shit, right? Any good movies?
Some other shit. They are seeking to give Luigi Mangione the death penalty.
And Marie Le Pen is going to be in fucking what do you call it for 4 years, right? 4 or 5 years. House arrest.
Yeah. They're trying to lock up. Lock her up because she was.
They
winning.
charged her. I mean, not charged her. They convicted her.
You're a
Yeah,
popular
they convicted her.
candidate in communist Europe. Got to lock them up.
Yeah.
That's
She's
funny.
convicted this week.
Of what?
They allegedly
Commingling funds,
embezzling.
allegedly, yeah, but who knows? You know,
Dude, there was a French Eurotard that came in here and started telling me how Macron is right wing and Le Pen is actually just a Nazi.
He's
That was entertaining.
cucked out of his mind. He's absolutely cucked out of his
That was
mind.
that was
Completely
very
delusional.
entertaining to watch.
I love Mario Maréchal. I love her.
It's funny. I've heard Canadians say the same thing of where, like, even the Polivier guy or whatever, that guy's the Canadian right-wing candidate and stuff. That guy is sweet as a sugar plum. He is left as shit. But whatever. I guess better than the current communist
it's better than
plant
nothing. It's
globalist.
better than nothing.
Yeah, literally, like, just implanted the current regime in there. Just like that. Boom. Canadians are so fucked.
63% fucking fraud.
That's okay.
You heard that, Caligula? You're fucked.
It's not. It's the country.
Look.
That's okay. We'll come liberate you soon enough. Once the government falls apart because it ain't got no more money.
Maybe we can strike a deal. I just want my Quebec, okay? You can keep the rest.
Let's resell the same shit.
No, I imagine Canada will probably become a territory for a period of time once shit gets sorted out, and then they'll be integrated into statehood.
You don't want those. You want to class.
Well, no. We got it once. First, they get like some constitutional rights and stuff. We give the good Canadians their guns back and stuff, and then we wait for illegals to be kicked out, and then after a couple years of
why
the
don't you
brainwashing-
stage a coup? Like I don't know, some kind of Pinochet 2.0.
Oh no coup required. No coup required. The whole system will fall apart itself. It's just going to take some time.
I don't
Like, but we think that the
retard.
the Canadians are a bit too smart for a coup sometimes.
Populace is tiny.
There's nothing here. Who was held with no due process for January 6th? I can't find one case. Can someone actually show me a case?
The guys who were in jail for years without actual court hearing.
Yeah.
And they had
Stop
no bail
it.
allowed?
You're trying.
You talk about like Proud Boy people and shit like that. Yeah, they don't deserve it, of course.
No,
There's
There you go. Why don't they deserve it?
due
Why don't they
process.
deserve it?
Citizens
You
of
just
the
said
United
everyone
States
deserves due
deserve
process.
due
Some
process.
fucking
I'm saying
illegal
like if everyone
aliens
has
are
to wait.
fucking
I'm saying if everyone has to
Like,
wait,
we need
yeah,
due
sure they do.
process for all our illegal aliens. But
Why
not
do
for
they
the
have
No,
to
I'm saying
wait?
they do deserve process, but I'm saying like if everyone has to wait longer, then yeah, I'd rather get rid of like the people just walking around the building. Yeah, they should probably get out faster than. Oh my bad. They should probably get out faster.
Should they get
than the other
like
people?
a meandering charge and get $200 misdemeanor and fucking 80 hours, 40 hours of community service and call it a day?
For the those people, I don't care.
You know,
that's like their.
I
peanuts.
still want to know.
That's about 95% of the people that were there.
It was
That's
like
not true at all.
400 to 800
It
people.
is
It's
true.
true.
Shut up.
400 to
What are you
800
talking
people hit
Hey,
cops.
do you want to just like look at the quick
Hit
notes?
cops?
Like,
Bullshit, dude.
No, I don't want to
Yeah.
hear anything.
Yeah, I don't want to hear it because the cops weren't fucking tear gassing motherfuckers.
They
Even the cops said they were set up. Have you watched any of the
No,
video?
dude, I've read through the.
Have you watched
cases.
any of the video? I'm just asking.
Yeah,
have
of
you watched
course, dude,
any
I've
of the
watched
video?
everything, bro. Of
You
course.
have? You
Mhm.
have? You have
Mhm.
watched the video? Then you
Yep.
know that what you're saying is not true.
No, what
Well,
I'm saying is
here-
exactly true, but okay.
quick question: if it was
No,
Black
it's not.
Lives
Yeah, it
Matter-
is.
No,
if it was
no.
Black Lives Matter doing that,
That,
would
the
you-
cops said they were set up.
Sided is trying to
I
defend
wonder how
why
many
the
Washington
cops said they were
agents
set up.
were inside the crowd.
Dang sided just
The
try to
cops said they were
defy.
set up.
Who broke into the Capitol? How did they get in?
Who
Who's the
broke
first?
in the Capitol?
Who was the first person to get in?
Now there were some windows and things that were broken for
And then-
sure.
yeah,
But once
who-
they
who
had
broke
entered
them?
into the
A
Capitol,
big deal.
they
Oh,
were,
now a window where you
they
broke
were
the fucking cities
escorted
down, bro,
around.
for the past
And you have to
12
keep in
fucking
mind
years.
that within a couple hours of them being there and all of that, there were individuals in the crowd who were trying to get them to do that far earlier than when they actually did. And I wonder what happened to them.
Well, here, let's just
Where is Ray Epps, by the way?
Yeah, well,
No,
no,
no, dude,
he's
Oh, got off
Can you show
probation.
me? Can you show me
He
a
got off
video
on
of a guy
probation
saying that he
because-
went in because of Ray
he's
Epps?
an insider. He's a
Here.
Fed, and he got a reduced sentence because he's a Fed.
Okay.
No, this
can you tell me
true.
one person that said that Ray
That
Epps was the reason why they
absolutely
went
is true.
there?
Don't know. bro. I'm not gonna sit here
not the
and
reason they went there.
analyze
No, they went
1,200
there-
That's all I care
cases.
about,
Have you
'cause
got
I
it?
know that
Have
if
you got
nobody
the
went there-
1,200
If nobody went there
cases?
for Ray Epps, then why do I care?
Because
How do you
people
know
like
they
Ray
didn't?
Epps is
How
what
do I know? Because you can't
was
prove it.
riling up
you-
and encouraging
if it
you
was
to
care-
do what
not
they
prove it.
otherwise
care
would've done.
selectively about due
No.
process. That
You
the,
can't
that's
prove
that
people
was
are
the
taking
entire
it.
point.
No,
If
I
it
was
was
saying
So-
that
set up,
deserves due
why did
process.
the vast
Entrapment.
majority of
That's what's called
Jan Sixers
entrapment.
then plead guilty? Like, if it was all such a big setup,
Bullshit,
why did the
dude.
mass majority of Jan Sixers plead guilty?
Because you're not going to win
You wanna
against the
know
federal
why?
government.
Because
You
you
said-
when
They
you
were
have
innocent, weren't they?
They
They got
thought
a
they had no way out. They thought that was it for
99.999,
them.
like 999, fucking Godfather.
So you're saying that they just pled guilty because they knew they couldn't prove their innocence. There's no way to do so, so they
No,
pled-
because when you have a bunch of old grandmas and you point a gun at them saying, "Well, you
Who's
want to
pointing a
plead
gun at
guilty or not?"
Well,
that's
I mean, they're going to give them a plea deal. And it's like, well, here, you're going to be fucked and you're going to be in jail for the rest of your life, or you can take this plea deal and say, yeah, I did it, and then get out in like a couple years.
Because you're not going to win against the federal government.
You're not going to win against a system that's rigged against you.
Look, man, look. You said they did
No.
nothing.
This is the federal government. It's not state.
No, we didn't say they did nothing.
President behind you.
State or county.
So again, due process only selectively applicable, right? Dying side.
No, I said they deserve due process. But I'm saying if we're gonna have faster people, like people that are faster, I'd rather get rid of the petty crime people, get them out of the system, and deal with the major crimes.
It's all petty crime, except for the few dozen people that fucking.
No, there's like 400 people that hit cops, bro. I know.
Wait,
400
you
people.
No, prosecute Black Lives Matter folks for burning down a Wendy's the same way you want to prosecute January 6th?
400 people hit cops. Yeah, bullshit.
That's ridiculous, man.
Yeah, why did they burn down any buildings? That's ridiculous.
Why didn't they burn down the Capitol? I mean, if they didn't burn down...
why is there no guns? Why have nobody had any firearms? What happened to the bomber? What happened to the bomber?
Politicians
you're telling me the most armed political party on earth went to the Capitol with 0 guns?
They had
a bunch of right-wing gun nuts went to the Capitol doing the insurrection without any guns.
Blocks away.
Show me a Republican that goes to the
Take Donald J. Trump's Secret Service January 6th. That's all you got to do. That's all you got to do. They were concerned about guns. They intercepted people with guns.
You got to do. You didn't.
That's all you got to do, man.
What do you got to do? That's what you got to do. Yeah. You got to do.
We got to deport use BS. That's what we got to do.
Republicans train for years and years to go to do some shit without no guns.
Yeah, exactly.
Excited.
Oh, great. So then you would concede then that they would be able to maybe take on the Capitol without their guns. Great. I'm glad that.
Nobody said that.
Where do you like?
Lay off the Adderall, bro. When you get deep throat, okay, try to avoid the brain.
Like,
just saying.
Throughout tonight, anytime someone says someone, you just misrepresent it. I don't understand.
Every single time. This is his
Which, by the way, we can just get the admins in here.
He's probably from the fucking Destiny server. All shifty people in there, or the Vosh one. You know?
I mean, I guess making a little joke, a little
smiling. He loves it.
I guess.
You're getting your ass handed to you, and you just sit there and just take it.
If you keep misrepresenting, you'll just be muted. This is a serious debate. So act like it or leave.
Talking about like serious points before we got into this weird personal thing. Like you want to go back to like serious
going on what points? Serious topic about what?
No, you don't have any. You don't have serious point.
Is the personal thing you misrepresenting whatever anyone says? That's not personal. That's just like pointing out that like you don't have consistency. You just
can you just tell me
everything.
Okay, in that case, can you just tell me like something specific I misrepresented?
The last thing he just said. I don't remember what he
We
said. It's
literally
nonsense. It's one after the other.
named like 2 things. That's what we stopped to do.
It's just white noise.
The whole conversation stopped because, dude, you've been doing this like for the past 4 hours. I've been sitting here playing Battlefield, listening, and I had to unmute myself because I was tired of hearing
that to get all this energy.
Was what I asked.
You guys said there was no guns at January 6th. Oath keepers testified in court that they had hotels stashed full of guns in case they would have needed them.
But they didn't bring any to the rally.
Yes, they,
dude,
you don't. How about this? How many people turned away from when they did the speech? When they did the speech, right? They went through metal detectors, right? When they went to the Trump speech.
Who gives a shit? This is completely beside the point.
Do you think that's a good argument?
You're just hypothesizing. You don't know for fact.
Do you think that's a good argument?
You don't know for fact. And how come all the pictures are not fucking from January 6th? They got shit from November, from December. What? The pictures, the evidence, the evidence. You watch it. I just said the pictures were not all from January 6th.
Okay. What pictures? How about this? Can we all agree?
The big screen that they had over everybody, trying to make a mockery of everybody, dude.
Every single time you say, "Can we all agree?" you say something that only aligns with what you believe.
Well, no. Here's something. All
all believe.
I'm telling you, the pictures that they represented were not all from January 6th.
How about somebody under oath?
Huge, we don't give a shit. Shut up.
Risk of prosecution.
Yeah, they have
Huge,
to
that's friends.
Who under oath?
Can we
Am
all
I under?
agree
No, I
on-
am not. I'm just going to tell you the words of people that were under oath under threat of criminal prosecution.
Okay, and Fauci lied under oath. Point is, a lot of people lie under
Are you,
oath.
are
I
you
don't
about to
give a
quote
shit.
like Adam
you
Schiff
lied,
or
then
something?
you
Because
can
that
bring
guy
that
should be
up.
hung in prison.
It's not even permissible in court.
But the point is that nobody at all has coincided with anything that you're saying on any.
What are you talking about? Anything that we're saying? That's
Anything.
Anything.
You look into the
think-
case.
Well,
Trust him. Trust him.
Guys, I only
Well,
believe
and like the guy just
CNN
said,
and
people lie under
MSNBC.
oath.
I don't.
Well, no,
I don't
it's not even
believe
that.
alternative sources. I don't.
Yeah.
I only
No,
believe
it's Dave.
mainstream
I trust the
media.
court system. Yeah.
No, Hobbs, Dave Packman, fucking Sean.
I believe
you know what
the
I
New
mean?
York
That's all
Post
it
and
is.
the Wall
Fucking
Street
fucking
Journal
nerd.
guys. Like I believe all of the left wing media. Like I don't trust.
Liz Cheney.
I love those court trials that are done in Congress, right?
You may not trust the
That are
left,
done in Congress and the full public view.
you still
I trust
are.
Rachel Maddow, guys. Rachel Maddow told me if I
yeah.
take the vaccine, I won't spread it. I trust Rachel Maddow.
Yeah.
Okay, well, would you just trust things that you could read under oath?
No.
No, because
People lie
Fauci
under
lied
oath
under
all the
oath.
time.
No,
Just
these
proves
people
lie
lie
under
under
oath.
oath all the time.
Like,
We've seen it happen.
So
If
you don't
people were honest and
see that anybody
uncorruptible,
said
yes.
it
But
first.
sorry,
You
it's
just
not a
trust
fucking
what
thing.
one
Yeah,
guy
people
is-
lie under oath, and shitty fucking people on the other side don't call them out on their hypocrisies. What's your point? What's your point?
What happens
Yeah,
if you lie under
but-
oath?
Yeah. What's
What happens
we
when you're under
know.
oath?
Well, I tell you
and
what's
again,
supposed
like,
to
if
happen.
you
Be
don't
charged with
call it out,
perjury.
if you
You're
don't go
supposed to be
objection,
arrested
your
for perjury,
honor,
but
or objection, like fucking whatever.
You can circumvent that by holding the court in fucking Congress in front of everybody and making a public case, right?
Hey,
Right.
buddy. So Congress is not the same thing.
Dr. Fauci lied in Congress.
The point
That's
is,
how they made
Oh,
their
yeah,
entire
you
case for January 6th,
You
buddy.
gotta wear 25
Without
masks.
any
Everybody
defense,
knows
just
that.
fucking Democrat bolstering about how terrible it was for like fucking a year straight.
Yeah, the
No.
emotional terrorism must stop. I've had
No.
enough of it.
You have
I'm
to-
tired of looking at things through such an effeminate lens.
Exactly.
What?
Can we all agree that this was the most liberal?
Senator,
Yeah.
we are not doing gain of function research,
Can we all
Senator.
agree
You don't know
that
what you're
Huge is full
talking
of
about.
bullshit?
They changed the fucking definition, Senator. You don't know what you're talking about.
Gain of function research.
And I'm here today to not testify. You're
Bioweapons are
Senator,
very
that is
cool.
completely correct, but I don't associate with taking lots of money.
Is this
Thank
Fauci?
you.
Jesus.
Dude, I'm telling you, like,
Oh,
these
yeah.
people get away with it, and like you act like it's okay. Well, it must be true. Like, what about the black dude that lied for fucking Congress about the Capitol Police surveillance videos and the stamps and everything, right?
Why don't
I
you
don't
watch? Why
particularly
don't you watch
like-
the videos
I
of the
don't
cops
particu-
getting beat for
I
fucking
don't
2 hours?
particularly.
They're getting
Well,
beat.
they were.
Oh,
They
yeah.
were. Okay, we should send the
there
video.
you
Let's
go.
send the video. Let's send the video.
How many people died?
Who, the feds?
How does
Like, all of a sudden you care about the police. It's like
Yeah.
For 2
you're a
hours
fucking
when
joke,
no
dude.
officer died, no officer died to injuries.
It took 6 months for the Kyle
Buck
Rittenhouse case
12,
to be
a
dismissed.
cab, and then
You know?
all of a sudden, oh,
Yeah.
the cops are our best friend.
Actually,
Let's
Babbitt
defund the
died.
police.
That's
Oh,
one.
they're hitting the police.
Yep, the only
It
person who
took
died on
6
January
months.
6th was
It
Babbitt.
took 6 months for the Kyle Rittenhouse case to be dismissed. I saw the video in 24 hours. I know he was not guilty.
All right, so just
I
quick
saw the
question.
shit when it
Who would
happened. I was
say-
watching it live.
Yeah.
Who would say that there was no violence against cops by
Nobody
January?
said that. We were talking about people
Nobody
who-
said that. I said
Nobody
nobody
said
died.
misrepresented.
Open
No
your
one said that.
ears.
You
Open your
fucking
little fucking
disingenuous piece of
ears.
shit.
I
Dude.
said
Okay, so
nobody
we would
died.
all agree.
No cops died.
We
No,
can all
no,
agree
no.
that huge BS.
From
Something
Ashley
major
Babbitt.
happened.
Of 4 hours of beatings, because I
Yep.
barely doubt it was.
Again, let me just clarify.
Huge,
we all
I'm
agree
warning
that
you
I
right now.
don't
You're in
know.
a thin fucking line. I will actually call a mod in here to fucking mute you.
Ashley
You better-
Babbitt's
you
the
better
only
the
person who
face,
died,
you better actually
and I think a
turned
couple
around
of
what
people
we
had
just
heart
said.
attack.
You
Like a couple-
literally turned around what I said. I say we just mute him because I didn't even say nobody. I said nobody died as a result, and he's like, so you're saying like cops didn't get beat?
No.
Bro, are you fucking retarded? Are you that fucking dense?
No,
I
he's
just-
bad.
No,
faith.
he just
You're a
likes
piece
to
of
You're so
shit.
disingenuous,
question.
dude.
You're a piece of shit. That's what it is.
Dude, I just asked a question. That was it.
I just asked a question.
But you're trying to steer the conversation in a different direction than the way it was going.
And I don't know. I guess you're taking it that way.
Unsuccessfully.
Huge, shut the fuck up. Nobody
Hey,
gives a shit.
hey,
And I
hey!
said
I'll tell you
exactly
exactly
what
what
you're
you
gonna
just
do
did,
before you
Mr. Shitty 41, Mr. Shitty Sum 41. This is what you did, right? I said they
what'd I
gave
do?
away. I said they gave away vanilla ice cream, and you know what you said? So they gave away strawberry. That's what you fucking did. That's exactly
Two
what you
scoops.
fucking
Two
did.
scoops.
So was it strawberry? No, I didn't even say strawberry, retard.
They gave away ice cream. You must really hate.
That's what you do,
gelato.
bro. Like you need to
Sorbet,
go check
yeah.
your. I
Yeah.
bet you argue with your fucking gay
good.
lover every night. You probably argue with your gay lover every night, and it's always
They're not
because
sending
you
their
don't
best.
fucking listen.
This
They're
motherfucker
really
is
are
walking.
sending their best.
Not the brightest. Get rid of these people. Bye, please.
This motherfucker is
Come to
walking
conservative
backward in the
politics
dark room,
before
expecting
the
to have an
liberals
intruder.
in disguise.
Bunker always fucks and just makes me laugh so hard.
They said be good on a fixie because I like to backpedal.
The problem is we respect the rule of law.
And that's what
Otherwise,
you did. You know what?
you
I'm
guys
just gonna
wouldn't be
start
around much
recording
longer.
it. I'm gonna start recording it and playing it back to you on a soundboard, just so you can understand what you just said. But you still wouldn't even understand it, even if we record it. Sir, you're on videotape saying
Hey,
this.
dude,
That's not what I
if
said.
you want to
That's not what I
record my
said.
voice and play it back, that's kind of weird, but that's on you,
Why
man.
is it weird? Why is it
No,
weird?
no,
come in
because
here
you
and do it
people
all the
have
time.
like less
specific
than
you
a
want me to
5-second goldfish attention span where you don't remember what somebody said 3
No,
seconds
he remembers. He can pull factoids out of his ass. He just doesn't want to be good for it.
Oh yeah, dude, it's factory. It's like Willy Wonka out here. Yeah, man, we got you.
It's major
Huh?
bitch ass energy. That's what it is.
What is Willy Wonka? What the fuck?
I mean,
I just the
original Willy Wonka, not that bullshit fucking.
It's all there,
Johnny Depp
black
Willy
and white,
Wonka.
clear as day, sir. You lose.
You get nothing.
you imagine going to like some Republican household and like check out all the fucking guns we have and all this shit for the government because fucking
state, bro, we got memes.
revolution and all this shit, and then all of a sudden it's like,
And I'm gonna go listen to some real news. Bye.
oh, what really happened? They're like, oh, they just walk through there with nothing.
Man, I can't wait until later today. We're gonna get reciprocal tariffs. There's gonna be some other big announcement. I don't even know what it is, but damn, it's like every day I wake up, it's like Christmas morning. Did he doing things I didn't even know I wanted?
You know, I'm curious what you guys think.
I'm tired of winning.
So, was it Cory Booker just broke the record for the longest filibuster? Aren't
what
the
was he
Democrats
filibustering?
It's
trying
not
to
even a
get-
real filibuster. They didn't even vote
Right,
on anything.
But weren't
Blood
they
was
trying
just
to get
yapping.
rid of the filibuster?
He argued. So they're
Isn't it
opposed
like
about it.
hypocritical to use it if you want to get rid of it?
So he's entirely a hypocrite.
Hey, real
He's
quick
some
on
rich bitch from Jersey, dude.
Adam is like super up on the
Trying to
charts.
be like, I'm from the hood, like that girl from Texas. What's her name? Who fucking flipped
Jasmine
the phone?
Crockett.
That bitch is
Jasmine
fucking
Crockett.
lunatic. She is a lunatic.
Buddy
And it just
Black.
shows how
She's
stupid
fine.
people are.
She's fine. Let's run her 2028. Jasmine Crockett.
Yeah, she's like,
Oh,
hi.
I would love a
yeah."
Jasmine Crockett 2028 ticket.
Yes.
Oh yeah, please. It's like another Kamala, but easier.
But yeah, no, it's funny. She used to speak kind of eloquently and normal, and then she did the same thing of where like, yes, let me try and pander to a group of individuals by changing the way I naturally speak.
No,
Oh, dude,
she tried
Democrats
to-
do it all the time. Hillary
She
Clinton
tried to
did
speak
it.
jigaboo to ghetto people.
The biggest
Let's not kid
racist ever.
ourselves. Yeah. It's fucking hilarious.
Diversity.
These guys still think it's like the Union Democrats are running this fucking show.
No, they gave
shit's
up on
over.
the fucking working class. That's why
Yeah,
the Teamsters
it's over.
Union voted for Trump. Like,
Yep.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy.
bro,
Oh,
I,
man.
so where I
There were-
work, fucking, I work at UPS. We're all Teamsters, and it was like everyone was just like, dude, what the fuck? No, Trump. People, bunch of
All right, I'm gonna take off like a bird, hang out with my mama cat.